you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friday, another night at Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen. I'm here with Dave Tuckman. Tonight is 10-20, no limit hold'em, $1,000 minimum buy-in, unrestricted, uncapped, big game. Got a couple new players at the table for this game.
Double Fist Night.
Double Fist Friday, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, there's a guy in the game named Scott Lindgren, who is kind of known as one of the best cash game players in the world. Let's see how he plays tonight.
Yeah.
So let's head over to the table and let's get into it.
Let's do it. Seat number one, we've got Alan. That's Alan.
Yep.
Really no introduction needed. Now, seat number two is Scott Lundgren. And Scott Lundgren, not really much of a tournament player, so you probably haven't seen of him. You probably even haven't heard of him. But if you play poker, you know who he is. This guy is really a phenomenal poker player. I've heard a lot of good things about him. I was actually playing in a shorthanded 10-20 game before the show started with him. Only played with him for about an hour, so hard to pick up much. But supposedly an excellent cash game player. Really one of the best. Seat number three is our Andy Block lookalike from last night's show.
Aaron.
That's Aaron.
Yep.
And he's back, playing bigger tonight. Seat number four needs no introduction. That's Mike, Corporation Mike, we like to call him here. Seat number five is Gil.
Gil is a tournament player, tournament specialist.
He's almost like, Gil is almost one of the best tournament players you've never heard of.
Right at the $500 and below level.
He dominates that like $200, $300, $500 game. Where, I mean, if you actually look at the card player, I think he's got 7 final tables, or he had like 10 last year. Really ridiculous. Seat number six is Bobby. And Bobby frequents the 5-10 game. Once in a while, he'll take a shot up in the 10-20 game. You see him taking a shot up here. And we've seen him, obviously, he plays...
Played 3 to 5 for a while.
I mean, plays an interesting brand of poker. We'll see how he plays tonight. Seat number 7, we got Barry, Don't Call Me Greenstein Woods.
Yeah.
I was playing with him earlier today also. Seems like he's shaped up his game over the last week. Really seems to be playing better. Seat number 8, we've got Mo, Action Mo. And Action Mo, unfortunately for him, he's down for the day already. I was playing with him in the 10-20 game. Unfortunately for him, he doubled up Barry Woods.
Wow.
Woods had kings. Mo had queens, 4-handed game. All the money went in. And seat number 9 is our seasoned turkey. There he is, also a phenomenal cash game player. That's Paul.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I love Fridays. I look forward to this all week long.
10-20 no limit. Brown chips are $10 chips. Whites are hundreds. Going to open this pot here with a limped pot. Heads up between Mike and Alan. And Alan's got top pair. He's going to bet. Mike checks. And whenever Alan bets, it's pretty easy. You can get out of the hand. Takes it down there with the jack.
Yeah, Alan is just such a predictable player. He really is. Funny thing is, when he came in here and he did commentary, when he did guest commentary, the one thing he said about himself was he's so mysterious. Nobody ever knows what he could have. And sure enough, pre-flop, nobody ever knows what he has.
Right. He
could be calling you with anything. Unfortunately, his betting patterns are very predictable.
Yeah.
I've done that plenty of times.
Big game here, 10-20.
Oh, I love it. Fridays. I swear, not only obviously the weekend's coming, you get so many things, but it's poker, it's high-stakes poker, it always seems like it's a good game.
Video blog is up on the website right now.
Great.
Last night. Well, 2 people have jacks here. Barry's got Bobby out-kicked. Now, Bobby's going to bet out here. He's going to bet 60. Barry's got the king-jack, jack 7-3. And Alan's got a spade draw behind.
Well, you know Alan's going to call.
Now, Barry Woods is going to...
Wow.
He's going to min-raise. He's going to make it 160. The pot was just limbed around. Alan calls. And now if you're Bobby, can you overcall? And he makes the overcall. And he is in really bad shape here. Turns a deuce, and Alan's got the flush. Everybody else, John, dead. No one has a spade. And Spade is not going to stop Barry. He's going to bet again.
And I don't mind the bet because obviously sometimes Allen will call with a hand like, he'll call with a jack. Rarely will he call a raise with, say, second pair, though.
And he's going to raise, and this is an easy laydown for Bobby and Barry now.
It really is.
You know, Bobby probably got a little bit lucky that the spade came, so he didn't have to continue to get involved with top pair there.
Yeah, the spade obviously saves him.
Right.
If, let's say, the turn was another 7 or, you know, a deuce or something like
How
that.
about another jack? Jeez.
Oh, then you're really in trouble. Exactly. And that's what we're talking about, that Allen. His betting patterns are so predictable. You know, him raising on the turn, rarely on the come. I mean, almost never.
As always, we'd like to keep this show interactive. You can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. And you can follow a live thread start on the internet by going to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums. Tournament Poker, World Poker Tour, etc. Official Live at the Bike thread for June 16th. Big game tomorrow, Dave, at noontime.
Who's playing?
Italy, U.S.
Ooh, wow. Let's see if U.S. can redeem themselves, huh?
Now, Scott is going to bring us in for a raise. We need to see his cards over there in seat 2. He's got Queen 10 of hearts, and Mike calls him in position with Jack 8 of diamonds. And Mike's got a flush draw.
Actually, Scott's got a flush draw.
Excuse me, Scott's got a flush draw, yeah.
Mike's got nothing.
Scott checks. Raise and a check here on the flush draw. He knows how aggressive Mike is here on the button. Mike has position. Mike's going to bet 130 here. And Scott is going to make a quick check call here with the flush draw. Here we go to the turn. Turns a deuce. Scott's still good with queen high.
Yep.
And it goes check, check here. And the river is a king. And they're going to check it down.
And queen high is going to win.
Queen high is going to win. Mike did not fire there again at the end, figuring, you know, Scott's got to have some piece of that. Probably going to call.
Yeah. Well, there's also a level of respect. I think Mike is aware of of the player Scott is.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how he adapts to Scott.
Yep.
Now, the funny thing is normally when you say, wow, this guy's a great player, we're going to see him play a lot of hands and we're going to see a lot of action out of him. Probably not.
Right. Probably
we might only see him play 6 or 7 hands all night.
Yeah, I've heard that he's very, you know, kind of a tight player, so I wouldn't imagine.
Tight, solid, he waits for the best hands,
right.
You know. Especially in a game like this, he's probably going to realize there's no need to really mix it up too much.
Looks like Scott's going to raise it up here to 70 with Jack 9 of diamonds, and
What do I
Aaron's
know?
got pocket 8s. He's going to make the call. Bobby is going to call on the button with a little gap suited connector 5-3 of clubs. I don't mind that call at all.
Now, how much was the raise here?
70.
70, okay.
And Mo's going to come in with a couple of deuces.
Keep track of what Scott's raises are.
4-way action here. 7-5-4 with a couple of spades. Well, Aaron's got the overpair here.
Now, you got to realize, obviously, in a game like this, 8s are not like something you're going to broke on this with a flop like this, right?
And it gets checked over to Bobby. Aaron did not bet with 8s, and Bobby's going to bet with the 5.
Why not?
He's going to bet 230, and let's see what Aaron's going to do here.
With a hand like 8s, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm probably, especially I have the 8 of spades in my hand. I've got the gut shot straight draw, plus I have an overpair. I'm probably going to put a little money in there and see where I'm at.
Well, Bobby and he just folds.
Wow, just checks and folds. And
well, you know, Aaron is, he's taken a step up, so you wonder if he's really, really going to play conservatively, but I got to tell you, I throw a bet out there 100% of the time, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, obviously, you're not going to go broke with 8s.
Right.
If you say, let's say you bet, you get called, then you bet on the turn and you get raised. Hey, I'm easily throwing 8s in the
I
muck.
got to tell you, I've seen people bet, and I've seen Bobby call that flop, and you wonder if he actually gets in trouble if a 6 comes, because he has a straight to the 3.
Yeah,
sometimes you see
ass end of
peculiar
it.
things from Bobby.
Yeah.
But moves over here to Barry Woods here in seat 7. The newer, tight, solid Barry Woods.
Yeah, he's really revamped his game. He's kind of, you know, taking it to the shop. Brand new wheels, realignment.
Gil looks like he's just going to... He's posted behind, and he just checks that there were 5s in the cutoff. Mo's going to complete with Queen 9, and Paul's got 7-5 of clubs, so limped around here. $60 pot.
Oh, Gil's still in the lead here with 5s.
King 10 deuce here.
And Gil's going to put a little money in there. See if he can take it away, and I imagine he will.
That's 50. Now, Mo's got a gut shot to the jack, and I can get involved.
Both these players have a lot of respect for Gil's game. Now, if you look at this game here, obviously, it's not the normal, really, really crazy lineup, a lot of action. And it's not necessarily a great game to play, and you've got some real seasoned players in there. I mean, you've got Paul in seat 9, who, if I was to rate my rating of, let's say, +3 to -3, I mean, Paul is no better than a -2.
Right.
I mean, he is not good for the game.
And Paul and Mike have had a history, like a recent history that's been incredible. We talked about that hand. I mean, these two might get mixed up in some big pots.
Well, it's funny, you know, I mean, Mike is relatively new to the dance, you know. He's new to this whole no-limit game thing. Paul has been doing it for a while. He's seen Mike's type come and go. And he's certainly not intimidated.
And they're going to chop. Paul's going to chop a Scott. Button's going to move over here to Paul. So we're actually all getting together to watch the game, right, tomorrow?
Yeah, we are. We're going to get together.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. Cheering on USA, even though they have no chance.
What do you think about, I mean, Serbia playing tough against the Netherlands and getting killed by Argentina today?
You know what? Sometimes it's a fine line. We talk about fine lines in poker. Sometimes it's a fine line in soccer, too. You know, a ball hits a post instead of going in or something like that. Instead of being 3-0, it's 1-0 or 6-0. Who knows? But obviously 6-0, that's a complete trouncing.
Now, Mike is going to straddle here. We're probably going to see this all night. Bobby's going to... He makes the call. Well, it looks like... Did he make the call? Yeah, he made the call.
And
Jack 10 of diamonds.
We're going to see Scott in seat number 2. He's gonna call as well with pocket 4s.
Now, Mike has an ace. Will he raise here? No. And, you know, you might not put Mike on an ace if it comes, because normally he would raise in that spot. Well, not a bad flop for Scott. Let's see if he throws some money out here with 4. 6-3-3.
Yeah, he's first to act.
He checks.
Now, I'm not sure, but it seemed like when I was playing with him, it seemed like Scott was really trying to keep pots small.
And Scott just gets away from 4s. He's just not going to get involved. And we kind of talked about how Phil Locke, when he played on the show, who was really considered a good, cash game player, he almost sits there and doesn't even want to be bothered in playing in small pots. You know what I mean? He's almost just sitting there to break somebody.
Right.
You know?
Now, the only thing you wonder, now, I assume, obviously, it works for Scott, it works for Phil Locke, and I don't want to question these guys because obviously they're phenomenal players, but at the same time, you wonder if somebody is just sitting there and waiting for that situation.
Well,
and you talk about waiting. They're not waiting for pocket aces. They're just waiting for the right situation to break their opponent. But you wonder if these guys, why would you ever give them action?
Right.
But then again, they're able to bluff, too. They are good at that.
Mo made a little raise here, kind of a little stop raise with King, Queen. Paul called with Ace, Jack suited. Mike's in there with a suited connector. 9-6-6 misses everybody. Checked around. Here we go to the turn. Turns a 5, and let's see if Mike throws some money out. He's going to bet 100. That's going to probably get it done. And again, you see Paul with ace high. He doesn't need to mix up or call, just think that, maybe Mike is bluffing here. He's just not going to get involved, obviously.
Well, you think about it. At the end of the night, when you're trying to figure out if you've won or lost and, what happened, even if you think about the end of the month and you go, well, how was my month? Usually it comes down to, like, 1 or 2, or when you're talking about a month, maybe 10 or 12 hands. 10 or 12 significant hands. Sometimes those little small hands, they don't really add up. They don't really mean that much. Oftentimes you're looking at it going, why did I lose? Well, I shouldn't have bluffed there with that hand, or I shouldn't have done this. I probably shouldn't have committed my hands with this one. And then why'd you win? Well, I had a big set here, and some guy overcommitted with top pair.
Gonna chop it up here between Mike and Gil.
We used to see Tommy Huffnagel, another phenomenal player in his own right, play on the show oftentimes. And he almost always won. I want to say he was probably on live at the bike probably a half a dozen times. You can check out Tommy Huffnagel's stats over at HendonMob.com. Now, Tommy Huffnagel, I don't think he played more than like a half a dozen hands a night, but he almost always won.
Yeah.
And these guys are definitely not playing tight weak. They're playing tight, aggressive. They know how to read players.
Mike's on the button. He's got Queen 10 of spades. That's probably going to be a raising hand. Now, Scott is going to make a standard raise to 70. He's got ace 8 of clubs here in late position.
And it seems like he likes to raise right around that spot, kind of in the hijack spot.
And Mike is going to come over the top here. Now, Bobby's got pocket 9s. And again, you might not put a lot of, credence in Mike's re-raise. He could be doing it with a hand like Queen 10 of spades here.
The problem is, though, is at best, you're a coin flip, and Mike gets big hands, too. I like the lay down, I really do.
And Scott's not going to get involved with it either.
Now, I mean, why do you really want to get involved with 2 red 9s out of position against Mike?
Right.
You got to realize that Mike is re-raising a pretty good player there, too. So all the power to him if he's going to bluff me out.
Button's going to move here to Gil in seat 5.
And obviously you got to realize, I know he has Queen 10 there, but what if the flop comes out ace 5 deuce? What, you're probably going to check and fold anyway with your 2 red 9s.
Yeah. Limp here. Paul's got pocket 7. Scott's going to come in with 6-5 of diamonds. Mike's going to raise. Makes it 80 to go with queen, 6 of hearts. Probably going to see a call and a call, I would imagine, from Paul and from Scott. And Barry Woods, I told him, I said, you really played well. Don't necessarily get mixed up with Mike just because it's Mike. And he's going to call here with Jack 4 of diamonds. And it's funny, I'll tell you why after the hand Barry's actually calling with this hand. And everybody calls here, so we're going to see 4-way action here. It's a $320 pot.
Well, if diamonds come, is Scott going to get in trouble?
10-7 deuce. How about middle set here for Paul? And Mike's got a flush draw with an overcard. Could see some big hand right now.
180.
Paul is going to bet right into the set. He's going to bet 180 here.
Oh, most good players do bet right into it.
Scott easily gets away.
We talk about that all the time, betting your hands. And you see Paul betting right into the razor, hoping Mike makes a move.
And Mike here, he's going to raise, and that is the absolute best thing you can hear if you're Paul.
Of course it is.
Now, how is Paul going to play? Is he going to play it thinking Mike has an overpair, go for a check raise or a call and a bet on the turn, or does he think Mike has a flush draw? Let's see what Paul does.
Well, that's always the problem with playing in that position. Obviously, if you call here, you don't want to give the free card, obviously, because Mike could easily have 8-9. Mike could easily have overcards and hearts. You don't want to give that free card.
It's a $400 pot, $400 raise. The pot is about $800, $400 for Paul to call.
1900, I think I got one.
And he's asking how much Mike has left.
Mike's got 1,900 left. I got to tell you, I probably push right here. I probably re-raise him right here. I'll win the hand right now.
Well, because I don't think Mike's getting away from an overpair. Like if he had aces or kings. I just don't.
He might not. Although you never know against Paul.
And Paul's going to re-raise.
Thank you, me too.
He's going to make the push here.
Obviously, the danger of raising with your draws.
He's going to make it 1,000 more here. I think it actually might be more than that. Let's see. No, it is 1,000 more.
1,000 more, and that's pretty much going to commit Mike.
If he makes this call.
Yeah, Mike's got 1,900 left. What's the pot now?
The pot is about 2,300, 1,000 to call.
Okay.
Now, Mike's overcard is not good here, obviously. He needs a heart and a heart only. Paul has one of the hearts.
You know, and when you figure if you call this, you're pretty much putting all your money in. Do you have the odds to call here? Are you even live? I mean, how do you even know you're live here? I mean, is there any way Paul's doing this with ace-king of hearts?
Mike gets away from it.
Yep.
Paul takes it down. Again, I do like that.
The turn would have been an ace of clubs, the river, the king of diamonds.
Yeah, I really do like that raise, or the push there by Paul. Again, even when we talk about how Mike has improved, with his stack size, I haven't even seen him get away from jacks, like on a flop like that.
Yeah,
you know?
I really think you're underestimating Mike, though. I got to tell you, I think one of the things that one part of Mike's game that has really, really improved is his ability to read players. The other day, I actually saw him throw away trip eights, but that was against Joe Wynn. But still, though, he's gotten to the point where he's now reading players. He knows, do I really want to give Paul action here? Do I really want to give this guy action here?
Bigger than ace-10, Paul? I had ace-10.
Now, if Mike had aces there, Dave, I definitely don't think he's going to go anywhere because I think he beat some other overpairs that maybe Paul might have.
Yeah, that might be exactly.
Yeah.
You might have to put, you might have to think that he smooth called me with jacks or queens.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
But
let's say he had jacks there.
Well, there isn't a whole lot you can beat on.
Exactly.
5-way action here, limped around. 3, 4, 5 here. And Scott has got a good hand because if a 7 comes out, he's got the nut straight.
Yeah, he's open-ended, but it's a really nice open-ended straight draw.
Now, Mo's going to come out and bet with the bottom end of it. Queen deuce, the bottom end of the open-ended straight draw. Mike overcalls. And this pot is quickly about $400. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a queen.
Well, Mo's made a pair now.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And he checked.
Well, now he doesn't need to bet. He's got a hand.
Yeah, Scott is in the hand here with 8-6 of clubs. He checks. And it's checked around to Mike, who had top pair on the flop. Is he going to fire now? He bets 400. And Mo quickly calls. And if you're Scott, no, he's not going to continue on here. Not going to continue on. Here we go to the river. The river's a 9. And it goes check, check. And look at that. It's going to probably steam Mike off a little bit there. Mo's going to hit the queen there on the turn.
Yeah. Take it down, Momo.
5-7.
Mo money.
You know, another situation there. Actually, Mike didn't share the card. Scott actually needed a 6, and Mike didn't have a 6. So the straight, bing, bang, boom wouldn't have happened there.
No, there was no possibility, obviously. If Mo's straight card, the only dangerous card, if a 6 had come, Mo makes a straight, and so does Mike.
Mike makes a higher straight,
right.
Yeah.
But
again,
if Scott makes his hand, there's no way nobody else can make their hands.
There aren't a lot of people, though. Let's say that Mike was in there and had a straight, but Scott had the nut straight. I don't think Mike's laying that down. I don't think a lot of people are laying that down with the
No, of course not. And that's one of the reasons why he probably even called the flop. Because he knows, hey, if somebody's got a 6, maybe I can really break him if the 7 comes.
Limped around here, and we're heads up. 5-6 against King 8 of hearts.
Well,
Mike checks.
Mike is in the lead here.
And Barry's got King 8 of hearts, Queen Jack 6 of diamonds on the flop, and Barry's going to bet here. And Mike has a garbage hand. He's got the best hand with bottom pair, no diamond. He's not going to get involved.
That's funny. I mean, the all-time argument of what is the best way to win at poker? You know, do you want to play like somebody like Paul? Do you want to play like somebody like Scott? Or do you want to be kind of a laggy, aggressive player like Mike?
Yeah.
Who wins more in the long run? You know, obviously, some of the best players that play Mike's style, somebody like a Bobby Hoff or somebody like a Gabe Thaler, who both play very ultra-aggressive, kind of perfected Mike's style. And then you obviously have the other spectrum of it, where you've got players like Paul and Scott.
Aaron's going to bring this one in for an open raise here to 100 with ace, queen of hearts. Now, Mo's got 10s. And he's going to put a little re-raise in there, Dave. Kind of information, also drive the pot. He's going to be the re-raiser in position here.
Exactly. And I think he senses the fact that maybe...
And look at Aaron. He throws over the top like 1,000, and Mo instantly folds. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's an interesting play.
Yeah.
I was about to say I think Mo did that because I think he thought maybe Aaron would be play it a little passive, and maybe Mo could use the power position and take it away no matter what. You know, obviously unless Aaron flops a monster, but Aaron turns the tables on him, throws all that money there. I can't believe it.
Ace king here for Mike in seat 4. He's going to bring it in for a raise. Going to make it 80 to go. Now, Barry's got queen jack here. He's in position. He's going to make the call. And Mo has got a dominated king-queen. Is he going to call? Well, he's calling Mike, and you got to wonder if a king comes against Mike, will Mo commit a lot of money because it's Mike. Paul overcalls here on the button with 9s. And we're going to see about a $320 pot here going 3 ways. Well, Paul's got the overpair here. 8-7-8. Mike's going to bet 200. You wonder how is Paul going to continue?
Well, it's an easy fold for Barry. I mean, Barry's got overcards, but no gut shot, nothing really else. He's got the jack of spades in his hand. Who cares about that?
Fold.
Plus, he's got 2 players behind him.
And look at that. Paul is just not even going to get involved. Folds there.
Wow. Well, you got to realize, obviously, Mike was a pre-flop raiser.
Yeah.
Paul kind of played it slow.
Mm-hmm.
If Mike's got a hand there, obviously Paul can't beat anything.
Yeah.
And does Paul really want to go to war with a hand like 9s there? You know, sometimes no limit hold'em, especially cash games. Remember, we're not playing a tournament. There's no urgency to pick up to accumulate chips. The blinds are not escalating. You know, oftentimes it's just a matter of picking your spot.
Mike's going to straddle here. And Mo's got queen 10 of clubs. He's going to call. Mike has king queen, and so does Aaron. 2 king queens here.
I would assume it's going to go call, and then maybe Mike throws in a little bit of a raise here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it does.
It's a 200. Now the question is Aaron going to play this hand suited out of position? Mo is going to call.
I know, what'd you say?
Now, fortunately for Mo, the odds of a queen coming out are pretty slim.
Question now is Aaron going to call with this hand?
I got to tell you, out of position against 2 pretty good players, 2 pretty good and aggressive players, I don't want to get involved with that hand.
And he folds. Now Mike has Mo dominated here. There's 1 queen left. It misses. See if Mike's going to throw a bet out. He does, 300, and Mo's not going to get involved.
King high is good.
Now it's funny. You look at a player like Corporation Mike, and he kind of subscribes to the theory of Doyle Brunson's play. I know he's read Super System, and he kind of plays that style where he figures I can win if I win so much. I win all the small pots that nobody wants, and nobody's really got anything. I pick up all that dead money. Well, then I can gamble so much more later.
Let's take a look at a chip count here. Almost $27,000 on the table. First chip count on the night. Game started about 6:30. Let's take a look at the differences here.
Chipping. Yeah, Mo up a quick 2,200. Allen up 1,300. And Barry and Mike are our losers so far.
So a couple things happened before the show.
Obviously.
Mike is going to raise here to 80 out of the blind with Queen 5 of spades. Barry is called with a suited ace weak. And Scott has got Barry dominated here. Looks like with ace 10 of diamonds on the button. Here we go to the flop. And there's the ace. And is Barry going to get involved with Scott? And Mike's got a flush draw. Wow, ace deuce deuce here on the flop with a couple spades.
Now, this is not a hand I imagine Scott is going to want to get real. He doesn't want to play a big pot with ace 10, I don't think.
Now that Barry raises, I think probably Scott is just, he gets out of there. $300 raise, and Mike calls. Mike checks blind, and the turn is a spade. And Mike has the nut flush. It is a paired board.
You got to realize with ace 6 here.
And it goes check, check, and the river is a 10.
There's nothing you can beat, Barry. Except the pure bluff. Now, I know Mike can bluff. Mike can bluff, and I think Barry's going to pay him off.
Mike bets $1,200. He bets a pot-sized bet on the river, and he's going to take it down there. Big bet on the river and a call by Barry Woods.
You know, it's funny. I think Barry feels inclined to always call Mike because Mike could be bluffing. And, yes, you're right. Mike could be bluffing. But sometimes you got to realize the texture of the board. You got to raise there from Scott. And Mike is going to bet into 2 players with a board of ace, deuce, deuce.
Mike actually raised out of the blind.
Oh, Mike did. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, then Mike continuation bets,
right.
And you raise, and he calls you.
Yeah.
Usually when Mike is calling you, he's got something. I mean, some sort of, maybe not an ace, maybe not a deuce, maybe a spade draw, who knows.
I mean, if he has an ace, you're calling just to chop the pot. And there's obviously a ton of things you can't beat as well.
Exactly.
And he didn't really give you great odds. He gave you 2-1 because he made a pot-sized bet on the river. So you're calling a $1,200 pot to chop up what you pretty much initially put in there at best did.
It's one of the reasons Mike can go for those draws because his implied odds are so huge because he always gets paid off.
Limped around here, pre-flop, 3 ways. Flop comes out Jack 5-7 with a couple of hearts. Let's see if Barry throws a little bet out here with 8s.
Yeah, but Mike's got 2 pair.
Yeah, look at that. Mike is flopped top and bottom. And Barry bets 100, and let's see. And Mike check raises him.
It's an easy laydown if you're Barry.
And he makes the call. He's getting mixed up here with Mike. $700 pot here.
Nothing wrong with getting mixed up, but you got to have something.
Turns a 7, and that counterfeits Mike's hand.
That's one more hand you can't beat if you have 8s. Remember, you couldn't beat a jack. Now you can't beat a 7.
And it goes check, check, and the river's a 6. Check, check again, and Mike is going to win with the jack.
Well, Mike doesn't like his hand, obviously. Remember, he called the raise.
And you wonder, you look at Scott over there, who might not necessarily be familiar with the players. Obviously, he's probably really watching. See that look on his face. I mean, Barry can't beat the jack. He doesn't have a 7. You got to wonder that the guy check raised Barry, and Barry called the flop, and he can't beat jack rack. So what the hell did he call with?
You wonder. You really wonder. I mean, obviously, we don't wonder.
Yeah.
If you're at the table, you're wondering.
I mean, maybe 6-8, open-ended straight draw?
And I was going to say, and oftentimes people will ask us, well, how do you play against a guy like Mike, though?
Right.
Because he's always bluffing, so when he's betting, don't you always have to pay him off? No, not always. You've got to read the situation and try to figure it out, because if you always pay off Mike, you're going to be down a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah.
You got to pick your spots. Sometimes, yeah, when it doesn't make sense, sure.
$70 raise here by Mike. And a call by Allen with deuce 3 of hearts out of position. Mike's in there with king 4 of spades.
Alan, what do you got, bud?
Well, Allen's got a flush draw. It is a dry flush draw. Check. Mike bets 200. And let's see what Allen's going to do. Mike said, raise I muck, but Allen calls. And if he did raise, he would muck. Turns a queen. And you wonder if Mike specifically puts Allen on a flush draw. And Mike's going to bet again here.
And this is the problem with Allen's game. If Allen would just bet his draws once in a while, there's no way anybody would call him. He doesn't have to do it very often. Because players have so much respect for Allen when he bets. And look, he throws it away. And obviously, I mean, king high was the best hand, but the river was the 8 of spades. Allen would not have gotten there.
Button moves over here to seat 5, Gil. Haven't really seen Gil play yet that much.
No, not at all.
Now, Gil is a pretty aggro player in tournaments. Obviously, this is a cash game.
Right.
Much different. Pocket jacks over here for Barry Woods in the big blind. And look at this, Mike's got 9s, and you know this one's going to go raise.
And in this case, obviously, Barry's got the best of him.
Now, Aaron's got king, queen off suit. Is he going to bring this one in for a raise?
He does.
And now will Mike re-raise? $70 raise. You wonder if Mike is going to re-raise. And yeah. And I think Barry's at least coming in here. But Mike might control the hand, though, with the raise. With the re-raise, if Barry just smooth calls in an ace and a king come up,
Mike doesn't like to Mike never wants to control anything. It's not Mike's nature. Mike is always looking to play a big pot.
No, not control pot size. Control the fact that he's the re-raiser. But Barry re-raises now.
Wow, you got a raise,
yeah,
a re-raise, and then a third raise here from Barry. Really representing strength.
Like I said, not controlling pot size, but just saying re-raise, I'm controlling.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And Mike's going to call him, and this pot is quickly $900.
Jacks against nines here. You wonder if this comes raggy, what's going to happen, or if Mike hits a set with rag cards. Queen 10-10 here. Not really a great flop for jacks.
No, it's a terrible flop for both hands.
Yeah. It's a $900 pot.
But rarely you want to try to bluff Mike.
Looks like Barry's kind of paralyzed here by the flop.
Well, I mean, you look at that flop, you've got jacks. You've got somebody who called Mike your $400 raise, and you're out of position. You know, are you going to go to war and go to felt here with jacks?
And it goes check here. And the turn is a queen. Now
Mike's got nothing.
Mike's hand doesn't even play, but Barry's hand does.
Yes. Mike has queens and tens with a 9 kicker.
And Mike is going to bet.
Well, now he has to bet. He can't even beat king high.
He bets 600, and Barry's going to call.
Now, I don't mind this call. I really don't.
Pot is now about $2,000 as we head to the river.
And I think it's a check and a call. I really do.
And Barry's going to bet. Mike's going to bet 600 here on the river, kind of a smallish bet, and Barry calls.
Barry calls it jacks. And Jack High wins it.
Yeah.
Queens and jacks, the 10 kicker, and Barry takes that one. You know, and you wonder, obviously, it was a good call by Barry, but Barry pretty much calls him every time. So
now, Mike actually has 9 high. Barry has queens and jacks, obviously.
Right. I think it would have been funny if Barry just turned over Jack High.
Right, that would be something.
I got 9. I got queens and 10 with a 9
jack. King Jack.
Jack.
Oh, man.
And Mike, obviously, you could see almost Mike doesn't bet the flop because he probably feels like he doesn't need to. He was actually scared. He said, what, Barry, did you flop queens full here? And then, when the turn came out and it's queens and tens, Mike said, I have to bet this.
Yeah, because my hand's not even going to play, honestly.
Right.
So we give him a goal for that. Well, it could be a good bet, Paul. Not a good one.
And that's not necessarily a bad way to play that against Mike. You make the absolute maximum by checking it all 3 times.
Now, if Mike, and this one gets chopped around, now if Mike actually were to catch a 9 there at the end, he would beat Barry's hand, but he still doesn't beat a queen or a 10.
Right.
Some of the queen or a 10 in the hand.
He can't beat queen deuce.
Right.
But
and he can't beat 10 deuce either.
Right, but he can beat aces.
Yeah.
Or jacks in this case.
Button moves over here to Barry Woods.
And sometimes that's the best way to play against Mike. Obviously you've got to be able to, figure out a situation and induce a bluff and be comfortable calling a bet. Sometimes you're going to be giving free cards off, too.
Allen has limped in here with ace-queen from up front. Mike's going to limp in with deuce-3 of diamonds. Bobby's coming into the pot. Yeah, Barry's got queen 10 off on the button. This is really, I don't know. I mean, sometimes at a passive table you might raise here, but you're not raising on the power of cards. I don't mind Barry just limping there.
No,
not really a strong hand.
With Allen and Mike already in the hand, raising's not going to accomplish much. But flopping 2 pair will.
10-8-5 here with a couple of diamonds, and Bobby's got 5-8 of hearts. He's got bottom 2 here. Now, and Mike's got a diamond draw, Dave.
And Barry's got top pair.
Now, this is probably going to go bet raise, and Barry needs to really get out of this hand. $200 raise here by Bobby.
It's an easy lay down for Barry. You've got to realize who is raising. He's also raising Mike.
Bet by Mike, raised by Bobby, and Mike is asking Bobby how much he has left. He's got to know there's probably no fold equity here.
Yeah, 0 fold equity.
And Mike just calls.
Nice lay down there for
Barry.
For Barry.
Here we go to the turn. Turns an ace.
Well, Mike's picked up more outs. He can catch a 4 now or a diamond.
And Barry moves, and Bobby moves all in here for another. Looks like 500 there, Dave.
No, about 700.
700.
Now this is a pure math question. How big is the pot?
The pot is about
1,400.
It was limped around. The pot is about. Yeah, we'll call it about 13 or 1400.
1,300, 700 to call. I mean, I don't think you can call. You're getting 2-to-1 odds. You got to know, okay, yeah, my 4 is probably good and my diamonds are good.
Right.
But besides that, I'm dead.
Right.
But I still might go.
He's saying he still might call just to gamble, and he does. He makes the call.
And Mike knows it. Mike knows it's not a good call, but he says, okay, whatever.
And Mike needs a wheel card or a diamond. He needs a 4 or a diamond here. And here we go to the river. And the river's a diamond, and he gets there. Wow.
I picked up a gut shot, you know? What do you want me to do?
What do you say?
He said, I picked up a gut shot. What do you want me to do?
What did Bobby say to that, though?
Good call.
Give me action, man.
You know what? You give Mike credit for at least figuring out. He knows. He knows what the correct thing to do is.
Right.
He knows I shouldn't call this, but he goes, you know what? What the heck? I'll gamble.
Won at that point. Jesus. Yeah, I'm 4 to 1, you moron. I got 12 outs. 24%.
That's assuming your 2-3 is good for the flush.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Ray was just telling me, I hand out candy bars to all the players before the game usually.
Thanks, though.
And supposedly Mike stole Bobby's candy bars.
Talk to somebody else.
Just don't scratch your hands.
Oh, I think Bobby actually used it as a bet money.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And Mike took it. There it is.
There's the Twix bar.
Mike is going to raise here. Now, Alan's got ace-king in the big blind. Mo's going to call, and, if Alan, I wouldn't really mind a re-raise here by Alan with his image here.
I wouldn't mind it either, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
If Alan raises pre-flop, it's almost definitely queens or higher.
Here we go to the flop. Well, there's the ace, and I think Alan's going to war with this hand. And
Wow, he checks it.
Yeah, I think he's probably playing for the check raise. And
I like that. Rarely do you see that check raise played by him.
turns a deuce, and Mike has now got a straight draw here to the 4.
Yeah, and Mo obviously had one as well. And now Alan's going to bet. And that pretty much tells you all you need to know. Alan's not betting unless he's got an ace.
That's 120.
Very rarely will he bet this. And both players just have gut shots. They're going to throw it away.
Yeah.
And Alan takes it.
Yeah, and, not only do you know what Alan, Alan's only going to be raising, like, especially in this game with aces, kings, or queens, but because when he raises, his hand range is so defined, we sometimes talk about a real type player like a Kirk, you can call with pocket pairs because you know exactly what he has to.
Exactly. When you're, let's say I have pocket 4s against, say, somebody like Corporation Mike.
Yeah.
I almost want to be getting 15 or 20 to 1 because there's a good chance he doesn't really have anything and I'm not going to win a lot of money. But against Alan, when he raises big, he's got a big hand, so you can call with almost getting exactly 8 to 1.
And the funny thing is even if you flop a set, his hand is so defined, you could actually lay it down if one of the Broadway cards come out that you think he might have raised with a pocket pair. Like if flop came king, queen, 5, he checked it to you, you bet a set of 5s, and then he check raised you on the turn.
Yeah, that might be a little more difficult because he did the same thing with aces.
Right.
But if the flop comes out ace, king, 5, and you've got 5s, you can hit the muck easy.
Yeah.
Ace deuce.
Ace, deuce, 5 here on the flop. Limped around.
What a nice flop there.
Turn is an 8. Now Scott's got a flush draw and a pair.
Yeah.
He checks it from up front.
And you can see he's really not interested in putting much money in the pot unless he's got something big.
Barry's just going to make a little bluff bet at it here. He's going to bet 100, and Scott's just not going to get involved.
Well, the makings of a really great cash game player is patience and discipline and more patience.
Yeah.
And playing really great poker sometimes is extremely boring. You're just grinding out that $150, $120 an hour earnings.
Not that this has anything to do with the show, but the man asked, does Mike have a girlfriend or a wife? And Mike has a very, very hot girlfriend. Have you seen Mike's girlfriend?
Did you read the rest of it?
Yeah, not that I'm gay, just curious, he says. Yeah. But I just
Does the man have a lisp?
Mike has a hot Asian girlfriend, actually. Or Filipino or something. Yeah.
What is it?
King
Straddle here for Mike.
Four jacks. What is four jacks?
Limp. And Alan's going to call him the straddle here with queen 3 of hearts.
No deal.
Aaron is going to complete. Mike's got deuce 5. A lot of dead money. He's going to raise. No, not this time.
I'm going to check it.
Raise, 40 to 50% of the time, Dave, you think?
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
All clubs here. Barry's got the highest club with jack 10.
He's got overcards as well.
Nobody has a 9. Does anybody have a pair here?
Doesn't look like it, no.
No, Alan's got a queen 3.
Well, Mike's now picked up a pair of deuces, and that's probably enough to bet if he's him.
No.
Now he's going to check it.
Bet.
Maybe he doesn't feel like he has to bet.
But Barry's now going to bet. Now, again, you know, if you know Barry, you know he bets his big hand, so this is sometimes you can pick up. I don't know if this bet makes a whole lot of sense. What do you put him on?
Yeah, the funny thing is, if Barry realizes, and he's going to take it down anyway,
Yeah.
but if Barry realizes who is behind him, there's only Allen behind him, he
could
can
bet
actually bet the flop, right?
Yeah. Now, Mike is not folded yet.
And Gil folded out a turn.
Oh, Gil still has cards, Dave.
Yeah, but for all intents and purposes, he folded out a turn.
And Mike's going to check raise. He took a long time with it.
Yeah.
He's going to check raise.
And I got to tell you, if I'm Barry, I'm a little annoyed at Gil. I really am.
Yeah.
Because Gil really, if anybody was watching that, Gil really showed that he was folding. It was obvious. And it gave Mike the power to know, well, I don't have to worry about Gil now. I'm only check raising Barry.
I don't have a flush,
And Barry doesn't have anything
That's all
here.
I'll tell you.
It's a $500 check raise. He's drawing to the 10 of clubs. I know he wants to get involved with Mike, but with a hand like this, he just can't. And I'm sure Mike is going to show deuce 5, but it was good.
Yeah, the deuce is good, and the river
Yeah.
was an 8. Didn't change anything.
Pair of deuces, got to be the best.
8 of diamonds on the river. Doesn't change anything, and Mike actually would have won it with a pair of deuces.
Yeah.
No stealing pots when I'm around, all right?
Button moves over here to seat 2.
Brad, I'm not bluffing for another hour. Sick, can't help it. All right, Mike. 1 hour is over.
Scott's going to make a raise here. He's got 9-10 off suit. He made it 70. Mike's going to call here with pocket 7s. So Scott has pretty much made the same raise here. He's got 9-10 on the button. Mike calls with 7s. We're heads up. Mike flops a set. See how he's going to play it. He bets right into Scott. 120, and Scott calls. Is Scott trying to set up a move here? He's got nothing, and Mike has a set. And the turn's a 10, and now Scott picks a pair up, and Mike bets again. Bets 500, and Scott quickly calls. He's drawing dead. If he catches a 10, he might get stacked here, Dave.
Yeah, you wonder. You know, I mean, obviously Scott was trying to make a play, I assume. Picked the wrong time to make a play.
And the river's the third spade.
Well, now he can't beat anything. I mean, if Mike was betting a flush draw, the flush draw got there.
And Mike is going to bet 1,200, and Scott is going to pay him off. Or did he raise? No, he made the bet.
I got a set of sevens.
Oh, Scott said he thought he had 9-10 of spades. That makes a whole lot more sense there.
Oh.
Wow. I mean, you wonder why he called the flop there.
Yeah, it really was strange.
Yeah.
You're sitting there the way Scott was playing, and look,
Yeah.
you just wonder. You go, Scott's been playing it so,
Yeah.
you know, so straightforward the first 30 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was playing for 2 hours before the show started.
Yeah.
Really never got out of line. You go, why is he picking this spot to make a move
Right.
where he's got no draw whatsoever? Normally, if you're going to make a move, you've got some sort of escape hatch.
Right.
And he had nothing, and obviously just didn't read his
So
hand.
it happens to the best of us, huh?
We've all done it.
Misreading the hand. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And I believe that, 100% genuine, that he thought he had 9-10 of spades.
He's not going to turn it over.
Right, exactly. He thought he had...
Mike's not going to turn over a set of sevens.
Yeah.
The guy turns over 9-10 and goes, you know, oh, look, it's not like he's like one of those guys who, I want to show everybody what I had.
Yep.
He just misread his hand. And we're talking about about a $2,400 misread, huh?
And he's going to rebuy
And
for 5,000.
that explains a lot more, because
Yeah.
we really were completely baffled by that one, weren't we?
And Scott's going to raise here.
50.
He's going to make it 50.
It was funny, too. I'm sitting there going, I'm like, wait a second, this guy's going to make a move with 9-10. The board is ace-7 deuce.
5,000 behind C2.
You did see Scott's cards.
You got 5,000 behind?
And Scott has got 3-4 clubs. He's going to get called by Gil, and he's going to get called by
Mike
Mike
and
and Barry.
Double check, man.
Well, Queen 6-3 here. Gil's got the best hand. Barry and Scott have both flop bottom pair. See if Scott continuation bets. No.
4 plays.
Checked around. Turns a 7. Mike has now got a straight draw to the 9, and that's going to be enough to come out and bet. Now, if you're Gil, what can you do here with 8s?
120.
He bets 150.
You
and
can call.
Gil calls.
Try to see what everybody else does behind you.
Yeah.
2 plays.
Mike could catch a 10 here, obviously.
Yeah, 10 or a 9.
And the river's a queen, and
Oh.
I think that's a pretty safe card for
That's
Gil.
the best card in the deck for me if I'm Gil.
Yeah.
Not even a question.
Mike's going to bet here again.
I love that card. Because if Mike had 7-6
Yeah.
or 6-3 or 7-3,
Yeah.
they're now counterfeit, and I certainly don't put Mike on a queen.
Yeah, that is a great card.
Absolutely love that card.
Yeah.
I actually like that card better than an 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Mike might have been betting, say, I'm trying to think of a hand that maybe, but there's some sort of straight possibility. You never know.
He could have had 4-5.
Well, 4-5's already a
yeah,
straight.
already
though.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
at first too.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing is, if we look at that hand, and I'd love to examine that hand, as if Scott knew he thought he had 9-10 of spades.
Yeah.
Notice how he was just calling, and then he did not raise the river. What I also found interesting was Mike was not scared by the spade. Mike bet right into that third spade.
Got a $100 raise here by
Mo. 7-5 of hearts.
And Alan smooth calls with 10s. Again, if Alan were to ever re-raise any of these hands, not saying that 10s, you might not want to re-raise. You might have played this for a set. And we're going to see four-way action here.
4 plays.
Ace, king, 7 with a couple of hearts. Well, Mo, he raised, and what a flop for him. He's got a pair and a flush draw.
And you know Mo's going to bet it.
With an ace or a king out there, Dave. Great
and
flop.
nobody's going to call this. And he's going to get the best hand to lay it down. Alan
Yeah.
lays down his 10s. You can't blame him in that case.
I mean, you raise up with kind of a gap suited connector or suited connector from up front. You flop that flush draw with a pair. Remember, not top pair, but actually almost a better hand.
Oh, it's much better.
With the premium scare cards out there. It's great.
If somebody made the mistake of calling a raise with a hand like ace-jack or ace-10, you can't even – you almost have to give Mo the free cards even to draw.
Yeah.
You can't take any heat. You might
might
even
not
lay it
call the
down.
flop.
You might not even call, right.
Yeah.
Once again, we like to keep the show as interactive as possible, so email us at live@thebike.com. You can also follow live thread over at 2plus2.com. Go to forums, go to World Poker Tour and other events. And live the bike thread for June 16th. Time flies, man. And we are, kind of exciting here, we are about 10 days away from the start of the World Series of Poker.
Mike raises it up here with ace, queen, of diamonds. And Gil wisely folds ace-6 suited, Dave, on the button.
Yep.
No real value, of course.
And that's a hand that oftentimes Gil will call in tournaments because he feels like he can accumulate chips a lot. He can accumulate a lot of chips that way.
Well, remember, in a tournament, he's using his position, not necessarily his cards, to outplay a guy. I think outplaying someone in a cash game obviously means much, much less.
Yeah, it does. Obviously, you've got to realize we see it too many times. I think it's a leak in our game sometimes where we try to outplay a bad player sometimes instead of just going, you know what, I don't have to outplay this guy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let him make a mistake, and when he makes a mistake, I'll be there to capitalize on it.
Limped around here.
12 plays.
Four-way action. Ace, ace, queen here, and Gil's got trip aces. Ace-7.
Unbelievable. Okay.
Now, Gil also been playing poker for quite a long time. He knows this hand is not the nuts. Now,
He checks around. He does not even bet here.
I'm not sure if he's necessarily slow playing it, but now he's got the nuts.
Is Mo going to throw a little... Well, he's got the nut, no pair with a king. He's going to bet. Gil calls.
Yeah.
How much you have? 600, 700? More money.
The only thing for Mo is he said, well, could I get Gil off of a queen here? Or is he just not even going to get involved? He's just checking fold the river.
That's the thing we're talking about outplaying. Yeah, couldn't you get Gil off of a queen? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But is it worth trying?
Right. Remember, the pot isn't even that big, so it's not like you
Exactly.
can throw a big bet out there now. It's just...
I mean, you don't have to win every single pot you're in. It's not like, well, can I? Yeah, you might be able to get him off a queen. But you're not going to get him off an ace.
And I think Mo checked blind. Oh.
Yeah, he checked blind, then he's going to fold. Isn't he?
River is an 8.
Mo's not going to call this.
And Gil has bet, I think, $300 here.
Now, while Mo postures here before he folds, did you check out that Mexico-Angola game today?
I saw some of it, yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, Mexico, I'm assuming they were a big favorite over Angola. Ended up getting a draw against them, 0-0. And Angola, actually, one of the players on Angola got a red card. They played 10-handed. They played with only 10 players for like 30, 40 minutes.
Similar to what happened with Trinidad against Sweden in the first game.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that and you go, wow. I mean, I thought, Mexico, I really thought Mexico was going to probably win that game 2-0, something like that, maybe 2-1.
Yeah.
Then when I saw the player on Angola get the red card, I figured, okay, well, now they're definitely going to score. And still, they couldn't. Now Mexico, obviously, with the luck of a great group, a real lucky draw for them, they're probably going to advance anyway.
Yeah. Just like it goes to show you kind of the weakness of CONCACAF when Mexico and the U.S. are ranked in the top 10, and they're just not doing, they're not putting up good performances at all.
Well, hey, the U.S. can still play Italy. You never know what's going to happen.
Sort of like you did on Wednesday. Oh, my bad, I busted you.
I think you were wrong.
Wow, and Allen, live straddle from Allen.
Call plays.
How soon we forget.
Now Mike's got the best hand here, Queen 4. Actually, no, I take that back. Paul has the best hand with Queen Jack.
And my question to you is, Paul's going to lead out. Now, this is exactly where I think Mike still has a leak in his game. Is Mike going to get involved? And Allen now calls.
Post-it note. This is from Mike. Loving kisses.
And see, Mike is he's gonna call here, Dave, see, without kind of a second thought.
Well, he's calling now, but can Paul continue and bet again?
The turn's a king.
Now, this is the part of the game where you wonder, can Mike or Allen or anybody like this represent Jack 10? You got to look at the draws that are out there. Jack 10 just got there. And look, see, now Mike gets the free card.
And everybody checks, and the river's a 5.
And Allen makes 2 pairs.
And
Backs
Allen's
into it.
going to bet the river here. And I think Paul's probably going to fold here, thinking maybe Allen made it with Jack 10. What would Allen ever bet here that Paul can beat?
Well, there's actually nothing now because remember, 6-8 got there.
Yeah.
Jack 10 got there. And 2 pair. I mean,
right. There's no busted flush draw that Allen's missed here.
Allen loves to.
Wow, and I'm surprised Paul called there.
Yeah, me too.
Really surprised.
Yeah, I am as well.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing you got to tell you about Allen there, I made a call against Allen earlier today. We were playing in the 5-10 game. And sure enough, I had ace-king. The flop came out ace-queen 5. Okay? Allen checked. I bet. Okay, the turn's a 5. So now the board is ace-queen 5-5. Allen checks. I bet again.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he has a weak ace. My king plays. I'm not worried about it, obviously. The river's a 9. By the way, there are 2 clubs in the flop. The river's a 9. It's an offsuit 9. And Allen kind of like goes in his head for a minute, thinks about it for 10 seconds, grabs 4 white chips, and throws them in the middle. And I look at him, I go, oh, so you missed your flush draw. I call. And sure enough, yeah, of course he missed his flush draw. And that's pretty much the only time Allen will bluff.
Right. But like I said, there was no flush draw there. So.
Exactly. If Paul's looking at that, you got to realize every draw got there.
Yeah.
So Allen can't be bluffing.
And he wouldn't bet out like a weak queen there.
No, definitely not.
I mean, he actually might bet king queen there. He probably would have raised the turn, though. King 4 jack here with a couple spades, or he probably would have bet the turn as opposed to getting checked around.
I mean, that's the one thing with Allen's play is, you know, it's pretty predictable.
Now, Allen had the best hand here with a 4, and Paul's going to take a little shot at it now. He's got nothing. Going to bet 60.
Now, is Barry going to call this? He's open-ended.
He calls, and he has overcards. Now,
And he's got the best hand.
Yeah. But obviously, Paul, I don't know if he's going to give up on it or bet again here on the river. The river's an ace. It's a 3rd spade.
No, that's a scary card there for Paul because if Barry was calling you with spades, he got there. Yeah, it's tough to bet into him.
But don't you think that Barry, again, remember these subtle things, it got checked around on the flop. Don't you think Barry would have bet a spade draw in position on the flop?
Probably, but you got to start thinking there when you have 3-5.
And he went check and 10 high 1.
I see that.
Unbelievable.
When the 8 comes on the turn, remember the board is king 4 jack 8, and you bet 60 on the turn. What did Barry call me with?
Right.
And how much do I have to bet on the river to get him off of what, a jack maybe? Maybe he caught an 8. You never know. Barry's not one of those players you really want to be bluffing.
Although I gotta tell you, you might use that ace on the spade. Me figuring that Barry would have bet a flush draw as a scare card, because if Barry's in there with a lingering middle pair, the ace is another overcard, and the flush got there.
Yeah,
you actually might take one more shot at it.
How often are you bluffing Barry Woods, though?
No, I agree with you. Remember, we talk about you want to get involved with these little pots.
Is that a raise and a re-raise? Or just a call by Bobby?
Yeah, raised by Mike with king jack. Bobby calls. Mike is going to call. And Mike has Barry dominated here.
And Allen's in there as well, by the way, with 10-5 of clubs.
Queen 6-7 with a couple diamonds. Well, Barry's got a flush draw here, and Bobby's got ace-queen, and he's going to bet 300.
Not a terrible flop for Barry. Now, it's not really a naked flush draw because it's got kind of runner straight possibilities as well.
He calls. And obviously, Mike and Allen missed this totally. So Bobby's going to need to dodge the diamonds again. He got killed by Mike in the beginning. Turns a 4.
Well, now it isn't.
Well, it goes check here. Bobby's giving him the card. And here we go to the river, and the river's a 4. And I wonder, actually, now do you check it one more time? Do you check call if you check the turn?
Yeah, I think if you decide to check the turn, I think you have to check the river.
Call Barry. That might be good.
and Bobby bets there. And, you know, Barry can only make a move here, I believe.
Now that killed your call.
I think Bobby's actually showing him a queen here. Showed him a queen. Oh, showed him the ace. Okay, showed him the ace.
He showed him the ace, then he showed him the queen.
Yeah. Obviously, there's nothing that Barry could have called.
And you got to wonder, did Bobby plan to play that hand a little bit backwards? The flop comes out with a queen and 2 diamonds. Plus is a 7-6. Queen 7-6. Obviously, a lot of draws out there. I got to tell you, I don't mind the bet on the flop, and I don't mind the bet on the turn. Maybe on the river, you check it. But I think it was kind of backwards. He checked the turn, giving a free card, and Barry was smart enough to take the free card.
And then he bet the river, and you know, only really, you know, I don't know if Barry's going to check a weak queen there on the turn.
No, you probably want to check it again and induce a bluff, right?
Exactly. Email here from Charles McClanis. Yes, Dave is a hypocrite. And again, an email from Alex Lee saying, U.S. will get a result against Italy, if not win.
When they say U.S. will get a result, is a loss a result?
No.
Okay.
Limped around here, and Mike is going to raise it out of the straddle spot. He's got ace, king, and diamonds.
So I don't doubt the game is going to go on.
And Barry calls here with 8-6 of hearts. And remember, Aaron had the same predicament with king, queen suited. Is he going to call with ace, jack suited here out of position?
And this is the trap against playing against Mike. I got to tell you, against Mike, I'm not calling out of position with this hand.
Aaron trying to get a read here on Mike. Barry has called with 6-8 of hearts. And Aaron's going to fold.
I'm going to bet 400 blind.
And here we go to the flop.
Well, it's 400. He bet 400 blind.
Yeah.
And the flop came out 9-7-3, 3 clubs. Barry is open-ended, but he does not have a club in his hand. Does he really want to call this? And he's going to call.
He's going to make the call without a club.
But what does Mike do here? I mean, how does Mike play this? He has ace king, and there's the straight.
The 5, and he's made the offsuit straight now.
Now I got to tell you, at this point, I'm not really scared of 3 clubs.
Yeah.
I'm scared of a 4th club comes off.
And Mike checks. This pot is about $1,200.
I think you have to bet this if you're Barry. Really, unfortunately, you have to bet this. I love it. I love checking to induce a bluff.
He doesn't have a club in his hand.
That's exactly why you have to bet it.
You can't let Mike win with ace 3, ace 4 with the 4 clubs.
Now in this case, Mike.
Wait a minute. Did Mike bet here? Mike bet and Barry moved down in. I thought Mike checked. He bet.
Oh wow.
He bet, and Mike says count it.
How much did Mike put in there?
Looks like a $1,200 bet, and Barry moves all in here.
Actually, wait, no, it's $1,600.
$1,600 bet, and Barry moves all in, and Mike is thinking about calling with ace-king here.
He's wondering if his pot committed. He's drawing dead. He cannot win this pot.
Wow, how much more is it? $1,750 more, and Mike is going to fold. I mean, basically the pot at that point had ballooned to about $5,000, $1,750 to call.
The river was a 10, and Barry makes the straight on both sides.
Wow, what an amazing call by Barry with no clubs in his hand.
I'll give you
And he thinks he has.
Thanks for the bet.
He thinks he's got pocket 8s, but.
But moves over here to C2.
Wait. Everybody want to come over and feel how warm these chips are? The ones that I got from Mike? They're hot.
You know, it's funny, Mike actually flipped up and showed ace-king of diamonds, and you wonder what Scott is sitting there thinking in seat number 2. I mean, you raised with ace-king of diamonds, you bet blind with ace-king of diamonds, and then you throw $1,600 in there with ace-king of diamonds on that board.
When you keep betting with nothing, you are one big dump. Were you hoping for a pair? That was your draw? I had ace-king suited. It was my only chance to win the pot. Yeah, but obviously not in clubs. No, I didn't have a draw. So your draw was a pair? No, I didn't have a draw. I was just trying to get – I knew you had a weak hand. But I haven't learned my lesson yet. Don't bluff a donkey. You and Adam, I don't get it. Don't bluff a donkey.
Oh, man. Limped around here. Mike's on a PDA here.
Okay. I've seen you call me all night.
And we're going to see 3-way action here. Limped around. Ace 5-6.
Yeah, Mike with the best hand here. Pair of 5s.
And as you can see, Alan would never bet that board with king high. Turns a 9. Now Aaron's got the best hand. And he's probably going to come out and bet here with queen.
Yeah, why not? I would as well.
That's 50. You wonder if Mike is just going to try to make a big bluff here on the river if Aaron checks. Well, Mike does have a pair. Here we go to the river. The river's a deuce.
Changes nothing.
Mike bets on.
Kind of a little.
Blockish bet.
Kind of a little half, little blockish bet.
Yeah.
I think. Doesn't want to check and maybe induce a big bluff, but I think Mike was kind of concentrating on berating Barry there, so wasn't going to make a move.
Kev Math points out that Mike, of course, when Scott just misread his hand, of course, Mike had that big misread against Jay about a month ago with the trips.
Right, where he thought he
when
had...
he called all in with 3 high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought he had deuce 4.
Right.
The board came out with 2 deuces,
Yeah.
and he actually had 3-4.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And George is standing right behind him. He's like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 3-4? Wait, he thought he had 3-4 and he had deuce 4?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember the exact
I think it was
case,
actually
but
he actually had deuce 4.
Yeah, he thought he had trips and he misread his hand.
The board came out with 2 3s, I think.
It's funny, though, you see how Scott played it if he had 10-9 of spades. Didn't raise the river, not a whole lot of value, obviously.
That was the question I had. It was really strange. Mike actually bet the river when the spade came.
Yeah.
What do you put Scott on? What do you think, Scott's calling you with a weak ace the entire time?
Right.
Or ace-king, ace-queen? I mean, obviously, because he misread the hand, it's a little different, but he should have had spades there.
Right.
And Mike probably should have lost that pot.
Yeah. And you wonder if Scott pushes in, will Mike call with a set of sevens? And that's, again, the thing. I mean, I like the way that Mike plays, Dave, but I think sometimes you give him too much credit with laying down hands. It seems like we get into this discussion, and then he proves you wrong.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't think he should be laying down many hands. That's
Right.
that's actually my argument. The reason being is because he's bluffing so much,
Right.
people are coming back at him with what they normally wouldn't be playing back at people. Like, I'll give you an example. If you bet and a guy raises you, they probably have the goods. But if Mike bets and somebody raises Mike, they could be doing that with second pair or top pair weak kicker.
Scott limped in here with ace-10 and Mike raised with 3-4 suited. Scott checks. Mike bets 100, and Scott quickly calls here with a gut shot here. 2 hearts on board.
Does Scott know their clubs? That's the question.
Turns a deuce. Yeah, you're getting word that he double-checked, and Mike is going to keep firing.
And Scott's going to throw it away.
You know, you wonder if Scott might have thought, well, Mike's taking one shot. Maybe I'll see the turn with a weak draw.
Yeah. See if he can catch his magical queen there.
Yeah.
Maybe represent hearts.
Queen or an ace, he might still be in
Yeah.
that call mode.
He might have represented hearts. You never know.
Yeah. Button moves over here to seat 6.
But you understand what I'm saying there, where somebody might, let's say the flop comes out king, queen, 4. I might actually play hard with Mike with a hand as weak as, say, king 10 or king jack.
Yeah.
Well, I would never give you that much action with a hand as weak as king 10 or king jack.
Yeah.
So it forces Mike, obviously, to call with some marginal hands.
Yeah, and Jay had nothing in the hand except king high as well. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Jay was making a move, and he won it with king high. It was amazing.
Well, yeah, Mike raised.
Yeah.
Jay moved all in with king high, and Mike immediately called with what amounted to his 4 high.
Mike's going to raise it up here with ace-10 offsuit.
Phenomenal hand. You can check that out in the archives. Go to liveatthebike.com, our website. Top left-hand corner, you click on the archives, and for just $14.95, you get every single show we've ever had. Literally every show.
Already done with the first hour of the show here, Dave. Live at the bike.
Yeah, we've had some phenomenal shows. 6 hours of Barry Greenstein, Greg Raymer, Kathy Liebert, you name it, they've been on the show. And a lot of Corporation Mike. I'm always amazed when people actually play here at the bike and they don't subscribe. And you want to say to them, go, why wouldn't you? I mean, I got to tell you, sometimes, I know obviously we see them every night,
Yeah.
but I go home and sometimes study the players I'm playing against. Why wouldn't I?
Mo is going to raise it up here with ace-3.
That was a consensus.
And Mike is going to call with jack-8 here. And we are heads up. Jack-8 against ace-3.
Well, 2 pair here for Mo.
If you raise with ace-3, nice flop for ace-3.
That really is.
That doesn't surprise me. 90?
Mo bets here. You know, talk about sometimes when somebody raises with, say, ace raggish, even like a hand as big as ace-jack, and a flop comes out ace-high, you really can't even play it all that hard. Again, you might bet the turn and take a free shot on the river because it's draw-heavy board, but obviously when you raise with ace-3, you get 2 pair. That's what you're looking for.
Oh, of course. Or obviously your bottom trips.
I mean, if Mo raised with ace-9 of clubs there, how much can you keep? Can you really take from that
No,
hand?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to bet it, obviously, and see where you're at, but you're not going to try to build a big pot with a weak ace. Button moves over to seat number 2. Scott, small blind $10, big blinds $20. We're playing an unrestricted buy-in game. Minimum buy-in is $1,000. There's no max, and we've got over $30,000 on the table. We're playing 7-handed right now, and is that a limp or a raise there out of seat 6? It's a limp there. I couldn't tell if the chips are brown or white. The brown chips are $10 chips. The white ones are hundreds. And we're going to see this 4 ways, $20 a pop, $80 flop. And the flop comes out 8-7-4, top set for Bobby.
Yep.
Nobody's got anything, and how's he going to play it? Looks like he's going to bet it right away. Kind of puts in a little bit of a, well, about a pot-sized bet. That's 100.
Yeah, it was limped around. No one has anything to call here with.
Nope. Now, some people say, well, why not slow play that? Problem with slow playing a hand like that is you leave somebody in there with Jack 5. A 6 comes on the turn, and suddenly you're now going to lose a big pot with a set of 8s.
$10.20 no limit. Live at the bike. $1,000 minimum, uncapped, unrestricted game. But
Gotta love it.
C3.
Action.
Gil is
taking a break. Yep.
Boy, it seems like Allen is just away from the table always, isn't he?
He's a smoker. One of those smoker guys.
Button moves over here to C3.
Obviously, no smoking allowed in the casino. Now, there was a time, probably, I want to say, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, where smoking was allowed in the casino. And I can only imagine what this casino and all the other casinos in L.A. looked like and smelt like.
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's clouds of smog and smoke. It must have been awful.
Well, and it's not just that. It's you're talking about, like, you know, you're not a smoker, but your wardrobe constantly smells of smoke. And then your house smells of smoke because you closed it.
Honestly, if smoking was allowed in casinos, like such as even the ones in Vegas and here, and I'm talking about like poker rooms, actually.
Right, poker rooms.
I would not be a professional poker player.
Really? It would affect you that much?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would not be. There's no
or
way.
you'd play like online or something.
No, I would just not. I'd do something else.
Yeah.
I don't like online poker enough to be professional online.
Right.
I don't think it's. I like the social aspect of poker. I just don't enjoy it as much online. And the smoke would bother me enough that I just would not play.
Looks like Mo's got 2 red aces here. There are still some card rooms in Vegas that are smoking. And look at this, Mo's limped in. Well, it's Mike's button, so he's playing the limp re-raise move. Now Aaron's got 3s in the cutoff.
And I don't know if Mike's going to raise this one. He doesn't have much.
He might fold. He's got 10 deuce off suit.
Exactly. One of the few hands he doesn't even play on his button.
And it's going to get limped around 5 ways, so Mo's going to play this one cautiously. Obviously, you win a big pot if you flop set over set here. Queen, Jack, deuce. Okay, time to put maybe a little feeler bet out.
Yeah, and this is really going to probably go bet, fold, but
$200 bet.
We'll see.
Now, oftentimes we talk about that when you play. Now, in this game, I don't mind the limp, especially with Mike on the button, but we see people incorporate this move way too much at passive tables. There's really no need for it.
You know, it's the funny thing is there are some games that Mike is playing it a little more crazy than others. And Mike's not really playing that crazy right now. You know, this Mike right now. And you've got to obviously adjust to, not only you want to adjust to the players you're playing against, but you have to adjust to the way the players you're playing against are playing that night.
Right.
And right now, Mike is not raising every hand. He just lost a big pot to Barry. He's kind of stepped back a little bit. He's not going crazy. And one of the things that it's great about Mike's game for himself is because people are always expecting the limp re-raise, he can often see a lot of flops with, like, you know, let's say he just taps the table with 6-4, and the flop comes out king 6-4. Does he break Mo? Does he double up off Mo?
Raise here by Paul. Under the gun with 7-8 of diamonds is going to take it down.
So what's this email here from Alex Lee? It says, USA will get a result against Italy, if not win. I guess a result is either a draw or a win.
Right.
The Czechs played a very aggressive, positive style of football, which the U.S. is not capable of playing when the quality is there. The Italians will go for a 1-0 result, which will give every team they play a chance to come back.
And that is actually true. The Italians traditionally, and actually, this World Cup, the Italians have had one of their weaker teams that they've ever sent to a World Cup.
Right.
They really play like a conservative defensive game.
Yeah,
they rarely will score 2 goals. Or
well, it's funny, like Argentina plays such a beautiful style of football.
Right.
Well, they can win games 6-0 like they beat Serbia today, which is obviously a huge blowout. Well, Italy and England are both just looking to win ugly.
Now look at this. Allen is straddled again. Mike has raised it to 240 with king deuce. And Barry Woods has got pocket 8s here, and I think he's thinking of re-raising.
Yeah, I got a pocket pair.
Let's see what Barry's going to do. I really thought for a second, Dave, he was thinking about isolating Mike here with 8s. Not a common move and no limit, but against a guy who was raising with any 2.
No, it's not a bad play. You're in position.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love playing against anybody in position, especially a player like Mike.
And we're going to see this heads up. King deuce against 8s. Barry's in real good shape, but remember, many overcards Mike can represent here on the flop. Mo gets away from ace 10 of hearts.
Well, that's a nice flop for ace.
Yeah, I don't think Barry's going anywhere here.
No, Barry's got the 8 of spades as well. Now, would you raise this up Do you really, is your hand strong enough to keep inducing the bluff, letting him bluff into you? Or do you want to raise it up right now and get some information?
$400 bet here. And
he
a
calls.
quick call here by Barry. Well, it turns a king, and Mike outturns him, and Mike's going to bet again. He's going to bet 800 now.
And that's one of the dangers with not raising your hand. And some people can say, well, you can induce a bluff, but how do you know if you're good if a jack, a queen,
any of those
an
overcards
ace
can
come?
kill you here.
Now, obviously, if a jack comes, you're good. But if a queen or an ace come, you don't know if you're good. And obviously, Barry doesn't know if he's good here. Did the guy have him before the flop? Did the king get him there?
The way that Barry's looks here, and I think Mike is really good at reading players, I put Barry on a pair with an 8 here. And this is exactly what he has. He's got 8s.
And Barry's hand was pretty strong on the flop. You're surprised, Barry. And sometimes players play it a little bit more passive against Mike because they want him to be the aggressor. And it looks like a 6 on the turn.
And I think
on the river, right? Is that the 6 of hearts?
Yeah. I think Mike showed him the deuce, of course.
And the 6 of hearts on the river, actually, Barry would have gotten there, but it is a good laydown on the turn. He was behind.
Queen high or something. That's right, queen high.
Butt moves over here to Mo.
I mean, there's no way you lay down a pair, that's for sure.
Oh, man. These two. Never ending, huh?
Yeah.
Pocket 8s here for Mo. Well, Mike raised it with king rag before. This time he's got king 6, and he's going to raise again. And Barry's got ace 9 of diamonds. And he's going to call, and that's going to bring Mo in, I'm sure, with 8s here.
And I always find it interesting to watch really good players and how they react to a player like Mike.
And Allen's and they were 7-3 off from up front. Here we go, 4-way action. $320 pot, king, queen, 9. Couple spades.
200.
And Mike hits top pair, and he bets again. He bets 200. Oh, wow, and Barry's now going to raise with bottom pair, but Mike has him. I don't think Mike's going anywhere. He makes a quick call.
You know, Mike can't really play this hard, though. He's got top pair, no kicker.
Mike checks blind. The turn's a 4. Barry picks up diamonds now.
You got to take it, right?
Well, what if you played as a big semi-bluff? Could you take a card or continue to bet here? He bet 700 now.
Now, obviously, Barry could easily have king jack, king 10, king queen, ace king. I mean, you never know. I know you think Barry probably would re-raise with ace king, but not necessarily.
I mean, again, there's two schools of thought. Yeah, you could take the card, but if Mike has a weak king, you can really put him to a test with a big semi-bluff bet here.
Barry could also have a king with a spade draw.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, obviously, a lot of cards that Barry can catch. Barry can catch a 9, an ace, or a diamond to win this pot.
And Mike's going to call, and this pot is over $2,000. Here we go to the river, and Barry makes backdoor diamonds, and Mike's got 2 pairs. He's got kings up on the river. And Barry's bet out of turn.
Well, and you got to love that. Let's see what happens here. Because that might make Mike think that Barry's going to check behind him. Because remember, oftentimes somebody that happens, you go, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't bet. Then watch, Mike checks and Barry would check, but here Barry's going to bet.
And Barry's got the absolute nuts. The pot's about $2,400. He made backdoor diamonds.
Is Mike thinking of check raising? No, I don't think he's got his hand's not that strong. I think he's definitely going to call, though.
How much is Barry going to bet here? It's a $2,400 pot. I think he's letting him off the hook.
He really is. He's not betting enough.
Barry could have bet a lot more, and he's going to take it down with backdoor diamonds. $700 bet there. Mike calls.
I think he definitely could have bet, what, about $1,200 there?
Mike, he could have bet $2,000, I think Mike's going to call.
Really? $2,000 you think he calls?
I think he does. That's
Really?
what I'm
Okay.
saying. I mean,
Wow.
it's just these two have a history. Dan,
Yeah, no,
you know?
definitely. You might put him on Miss Spades.
Miss Spades. Why not represent Miss Spades here?
Definitely.
I was just in shock. You gotta love a guy who goes runner, and then pop up
And he did go runner on a diamond there. Obviously, another 9 or an ace would have been good as well.
Yeah.
700 into a fucking $2,000 pot with kings up.
Get an email here from Paul Siebert. He says, how do I get into this game? Very interested. If you would let me know, I will give you a big sloppy kiss. Well, I'm not going to tell you then. Now, if you want to ever play on Live at the Bike, go to our website. Go to liveatthebike.com. On the left-hand side, there's an actual play of how to get into the game. Click on that, and it'll tell you. We also have a bunch of other stuff on our website. Check it out. We've got my blog.
Nice bet, though. I'm glad you liked it. You bet 2,000, I call you.
And look at that. See, Mike says he bet 2,000, I call you.
There's actually not one part of that hand you played right. Well, why'd you check then?
Wow. He said 2,000. Okay. I was going to say at least 1,500.
I check called with kings up.
Yeah, Barry really, and Allen's going to raise here out of the blind with 10s.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, Paul raised with deuce 4, and Allen called with 10.
I mean, the pot's 2,200. You're betting 700? Way too small a bet.
Well, Allen's got the overpair. I don't think he's going anywhere.
No.
He checks.
Wow, how do you check that?
Well, Paul's going to, of course, he's going to continuation bet against Allen.
Well, you have to. You have to bet because there's a good chance Allen's got nothing.
$220 bet, and Allen's going to check raise.
Yeah, and Paul's going to just not even think
Show the
about it.
deuce 4.
Paul's got a history with deuce 4, by the way.
Yeah.
That's his hand. He always raises with deuce 4.
Should be. Should be. It should be. Jesus.
Yeah, Barry really let Mike off the hook on the river. I mean, this is what makes you really escalate to a better no-limit player, Dave, is, making those bets. He could have made at least another, maybe 1,000 more.
Of course.
Take a look at the chip count here.
Yeah, over $34,000 on the table. Barry's got the table covered. Scott in second place with $6,000. He is actually rebought after that misread. Mo with $4,900. Mike with $3,800. Let's see how they're doing. Yeah, Mo's got the table. He's actually winning here. He's up $2,900 for the night. Allen up $1,500. He's doing pretty well. Gil up $200. The rest of the table is down. Barry still down $400 even though after winning a couple of big pots. Made a nice comeback. But yeah, when you start thinking about your hourly rate, you start thinking about, God, I'm making $70 an hour, or I'm making $40 an hour, or I'm making $300 an hour. Well, that's $1,000 there that he left on the table.
Limped around here. Queen, Jack, 6.
Allen with the best hand. And I'm assuming if it checks around to him, he'll bet on the button.
And Mike is paying 5,000 behind. But Paul is going to bet 70 here with Jack 10. He's one off the cutoff. And Allen's going to raise.
And that's Allen. That's pretty much Allen in a nutshell. He raises. What does he have minimum? At least a queen. Probably better than that even.
Yeah, maybe even 2 pair. Maybe Queen, Jack.
Or, yeah, big queen. This is actually a pretty mediocre holding for Allen to raise with.
Yeah.
But you got to like Paul's bet there. Paul betting one off the button with Allen on the button, knowing he's probably not going to bet.
Well, I'm catching it. I'm just running.
Get 3 people away from the table here.
Every time you bet, I'm bluffing.
And apparently, I got the odds from Infinite 1 over on 2+2. I appreciate it. He says, hey, Mexico was minus 320 to win, which means pretty much you have to bet $320 to win 100.
Right.
Angola was plus 850 to win.
And the draw was plus 320.
Right. And USA apparently is plus 600 to win tomorrow. And it's the over
2.5 goals is plus 110.
Yeah, go back. I want to see what are the odds to draw?
He didn't have it up there.
He didn't. Okay. So I'm assuming Italy must be like a minus 250.
Got a live straddle here by Mike in seat 4. And seat 2 is going to raise it up here to 140 with 3-4 diamonds, and Mike just calls here. Well, 10-9-6. Let's see if Scott makes that continuation bet. Mike's going to bet 200. And Scott is going to fold.
Yeah.
Post here on 2+2, new poster Evil Jeff. Of course, we like the negative comments. He says, this is my first time watching one of these. The commentary so far is pretty bad. Who are the bigger names playing tonight? Any 2+2ers? No 2+2ers in the
No,
game.
I don't think any 2+2ers, but we do appreciate the negative comments.
Right.
We get so much positive feedback that it's nice once in a while to have somebody not like the show.
Right.
Let us know why you don't like it.
Or not like the commentary.
Right. The show might be great. We just suck.
Right. Button moves over here to seat 3.
Nice post from Trainwreck, actually. So I've misread my hand only twice. I left shortly after both times. Sometimes I do the same thing. Now, obviously, Scott, he's been playing this game for quite a long time in seat number 2. And he feels like he can, recover from that. But oftentimes, if I misread my hand and I make like a $2,500 misread, sometimes it's just in my head, and I can't stick there. I got to get out of there. Come back to fight another day.
8-3-9 here with a couple of hearts. It was limped around. Mike's got an open-ended straight draw. Goes check here. The turn is an ace. And now Paul's going to come out and bet with deuces. So Mike did not semi-bluff. And Mike makes a quick check call here on the turn. And here we go to the river. And the river's a 10, and Mike makes it.
Yep.
And he's going to bet out. And there's nothing here that Paul can beat except the bluff. He's going to get out of there.
Email here from Joe McLean. And he says, well, he doesn't say anything really important, but it's a funny email. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, he actually sent a clip of, this is, sometimes he'll send me pictures.
Asian porn?
Yeah, this is actually an Asian porn that I have seen. He actually sent me a clip here. I recognize it. But moves over here to seat 4.
Sometimes they call it Mike at the bottom.
I was wondering. I saw the photo, and I'm going, wait a second, she's not naked.
Right.
What's this of?
That was
Mike is Mo's going to raise it up here with ace queen offsuit. Going to make it 100 to go. Quick call here by Allen. We need to see his cards in seat 1. Mike is going to call with 6-3 of clubs. Allen looks like he's got 9-10 offsuit.
Yeah.
We're going to see it 3 ways here. $240.
And Mike's got the that's Allen hand. 6-3 of clubs.
Queen, Jack, Jack here. Well, Allen's got the bottom end of an open-ended straight draw. Mo's got the queen.
Yeah, not real valuable. You got to look at it. Board is paired. You got no other draw. It's a naked straight draw. And you got to realize that if you hit your hand, there's a good chance, even if Mo has aces or a queen here, he's not going to pay you off because he'll put you on the jack. Well,
turns a queen, and now Mo fills up. And the beautiful thing, I like the bet here by Mo because Allen might slow play a jack and might not be able to get away from it.
Yeah.
If you check it there, and Allen has a jack, I think he might check behind you, and then you bet and he calls. But if you bet, he might call, and then you can bet even more on the river. We talk about building that pot up,
yeah.
right?
You also have to realize this, and as obscure as a hand as it might be, if you have ace-queen in that situation, and I'm against queen 10 in that situation, queen 10 is drawing dead.
I'm free rolling with ace-queen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you get really, really deep, you've got to start realizing that. You've got to go, wait a second.
I can improve. This guy can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those little 3% edges, hey, Vegas was built on a 3% edge.
Absolutely. Mike's going to raise it up here to 80 with Jack 9 of spades.
Now, Barry's got an interesting hand, and he's out of position, unfortunately. Now, if he was in position, I don't mind calling it, but out of position, I don't want to be in
we
there.
talk about saying, there really isn't a whole lot of value in a cash game with the ace-jack off. Now, do you call Mike, though, with the ace-jack on the button, just because of the pure value of it?
Yeah, on the button you can.
Yeah.
Because you got position on him.
Mike is dominated here, and Mo is in there with king 8 suited. Here we go to the flop. Ace 5-9. Well, Gil's hit the ace, and look at Mike's hand. He's got a flush draw and a pair.
Yeah, and this could be a big one here. We'll see what happens. How is Gil going to play it?
$200 bet. Is Gil going to raise it right now?
He is.
I got to tell you, though, Gil looks pretty short. I think if Mike comes over the top, which he just did, Gil immediately over the top. I mean, Mike pushes in immediately, and here you go with ace-jack here. Would Mike really do this with ace-10, which is the only thing you can beat now? You can't beat ace-9. Obviously, that's 2 pair.
Yeah, I mean, all you can really beat is Jack 9, 10 9, King 9 of spades, something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly what Mike has. Now, Gil's in the lead, and you wonder, did Gil commit himself here? How much money does Gil have left? It looks like he only has about $1,000 left. So the pot is, I want to say, 8. I want to say the pot is about, what, 2,400, 1,000 to call?
I think that's about right. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's getting about 2.5 to 1 here, 2.4 to 1. But this is, this is the inherent problem with ace-jack. It's amazing how we talk about it, and then we just see an example of it right here.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's not stupid.
Yeah.
Gil knows that Mike knows that Gil has an ace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike actually even called his hand and said, what do you have, ace what? Ace-queen, ace-jack?
And Gil gets away from it.
Yeah.
And how do you really blame him?
The turn of the 3 of spades.
Mike would have gotten there.
Right away.
Yep.
And sometimes that's the best value of a big flush draw or a big draw like that. The power of the fold equity.
Yep. Flush draw plus a pair, obviously. Could have caught, and actually, obviously, the jack is no good because Gil would have made aces up if the jack comes.
Right.
Button moves over here to Barry in seat 7. $120 raise here by Scott. See, now he's increased his raise size when his stack has moved up. Now people are a little bit deeper.
Right.
Remember, he was raising to 70.
Now you wonder, this is the first real big hand he's got. Not like it's a big hand, but he makes it a bigger raise. Is he making it a bigger raise because of his hand, or is he making it a bigger raise because he has more money now?
I think that it has to do with the fact that the game now is deeper and he now has more money.
Okay.
I would definitely think that. And as you can see, the standard raises are moving up. Barry is now pretty deep. Mike is now deep. Scott has rebought for more money.
Oftentimes this game starts out a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And by the time we roll around to 9 o'clock, we got 50,000 on the table. Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hansen. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 Pacific time. If you miss any show during the week, you can catch the entire week's replay on Sunday starting at noon.
Limped around here. Limped by king-queen suited in seat 3. Bobby limps with ace-queen suited. Mike's got queen 10 and Gil's got queen 8. No more queens. And pocket kings here for seat number 2. And Scott did not raise out of the big blind. He didn't raise out of the big blind here. 8-5-6, a horrible flop for kings on an unraised pot.
Now, we saw
And
that.
look at this. Paul comes out and bets 7-9. He's flopped the straight, and Scott just folds it. He folds the 2 kings like it's nothing. Gil is going to call here with queen 8. I mean, Paul has flopped the straight. And look at this. Bobby's got overcards and hearts. Big flop for a couple of people here. He makes the call. Paul's got the nuts now. Bobby drawing to a flush.
Now, if Bobby catches an ace or a queen, is he going to lose any more money?
Turns a 9.
Well, that's got to save Bobby a little bit. I mean, you've got to realize it's a one-line or it's a straight now. And if Paul continues betting, you've got to realize you're in trouble. How is Gil in there still with queen 8?
Well, you just call with top pair. Paul's going to bet out here again, 330. And again, you got to wonder, you got to look at implied odds, because Bobby wisely gets away from it. He calls there against a player of Paul's stature. There aren't a lot of implied odds when the heart comes.
Paul's got a lot of stature. Whole lot of stature. It's really interesting. The more we play No Limit Hold'em,
Scott, that's really.
The more we play No Limit Hold'em, and the more we watch and commentate No Limit Hold'em, the more I begin to think that we don't really know anything about No Limit Hold'em. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. The older you get, the more you realize how stupid you were when you were younger. We've now seen Phil Locke. If anybody remembers Phil Locke, the show with Phil Locke, we remember him checking it in the blind with queens after like an a limped around pot, like 5 ways. And now we see another. I mean, this guy, Scott Lundgren, he's been around for 25 years playing in the top cash games in the world, and he just goes, okay, kings, whatever, and just throw them away, not even thinking about it.
Well, and the thing is, and I'll get to it in a second here after this hand, Mo has raised it with 10s. Because the more and more you think about why you actually might not raise there out of position, the more and more it might make sense Mo is going to fold. I mean, it's really a close one. I mean, the thing is, the same thing could be asked, what if you had aces there? Because the problem with doing it with aces is because if you hit your set, obviously it's now top pair to the board. Now, if you hit a set of kings but an ace comes out on the flop, somebody might get involved. The problem with aces is that...
Well, aces are a little bit different in the sense that if you do raise out of the blind, you definitely have the best hands.
Right.
Now, if you raise with kings there, what if somebody was playing it tricky with aces?
I know, but I don't think you necessarily can play poker in that manner.
I mean, you start thinking about it, though, and also by raising out of the blind there with kings, you give an awful lot of information away.
And the reason why he might not do it is because he's got 3 guys that are really deep playing him in position, Mike, Barry, and Mo. And Barry and Mike have shown that they might play any 2 cards. And if he makes a raise there to 300 and he gets called, it's a $1,000 pot. And what does he do when the flop comes out just like it came?
Well, yeah, I mean, you think about it. If he makes
Barry
a 300 to go, and Mike calls him with 6-4 of hearts, and Barry calls him with 2 sevens, and the flop comes out, 7-4-4, he doesn't. How do you know your kings are good or not? So he's forced to put a $1,000 bet in there. He gets no information. Just really an interesting way to play the hand. It's not something that you and I really do or preach. But we now seen Phil Locke do it. Now we see Scott Lundgren do it. And the more you see better players make that play, I think the more credence you have to give to it. Obviously, if the flop were to come out, say, King 7-7, nobody in the world would put him on pocket kings. His hand is completely disguised.
Pocket 8s here for Aaron. He's on the button, and he's going to raise.
I mean, you talk about some of these big-time players, they're looking to play big, big pots, and they want to win them. Yeah. Raising out of the blind with pocket kings pretty much just going to go fold, 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 and you're going to take down the dead money.
And Aaron's got ace-queen here. Wow, look at this. Is funny. Aaron threw a white chip in, and he didn't say anything, so it was a call. Mike raised with 8s, and Aaron pulled the limp re-raise with ace-queen. That's how this hand's gone down. It's the $800 pot already. King 4-4. Check here by Mike.
Mike says he has some of that.
And Aaron's going to bet. Now, Mike is staring at 1 overcard here.
Now, the interesting thing about Mike's play here, do you think, did he not realize that Aaron meant to raise? Because I got to tell you, if I think Aaron meant to raise to $100, I'm going to just take the card with the 8s, aren't you?
Now, you cannot really blame Mike for folding there.
No, of course not.
He can't beat any other overpair to 8s. Obviously, he can't beat ace-king. Aaron threw the 100 chip in there, but he has browns, but he didn't say anything. And you're right, it was declared a call. Mike then raised, and then Aaron re-raised him.
Yeah, I really think it was a mistake by Mike there. If you think about it, and you go, this guy, new to the game, was trying to raise. Okay, well, good. I'll take the free flop and see if I can spike a set.
Right.
Button moves over to seat number 4.
Now, that's the first time we've ever really seen anybody do that with kings, Dave. And again, I know Scott is playing deep.
Well, we saw, I wanted to say we saw the guy do it the other day. What's his name? Wednesday show.
That's right. That other guy, yeah.
Rob, right?
Mike is raised here with 5-3
No, not Rob.
offsuit.
Different guy.
No, definitely not Rob. Gil is called with the ace-9, and Gil's got trip 9s.
Yeah, Mike's got nothing. It's one of the rare times you might, I was going to say, you might want to induce a bluff against Mike. You and I always love betting our trips, but against Mike, why not induce a bluff?
Gil is mini check raised here on the flop, and he's going to take it down there with the ace-9.
I got to tell you, with ace-9 here, there's a chance I check all 3 times. Check,
Yeah.
call, check, call, check, call. Obviously, many different ways you can play it against somebody who's hyper-aggressive.
You know, it's an interesting question. You might want to pose it out to people on 2+2 in the emails. Are kings, when you're deep, too good not to raise, or might you just want to play a small pot with them against players who really have you deep in position? Because I think you make the cases for aces that you would always raise.
It's not necessarily a small pot. It's more of the. I think it's the opposite in the sense like Phil Locke was.
It's just so disguising.
It's so disguising, and he's looking to trick somebody into a huge pot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if the king comes out there
with 2 rag pair cards.
Yeah, exactly. If somebody's in there with 5-4 and the flop comes out king 4-4, he might stack that guy with 5-4. He really might. Obviously, somebody's going, well, how often does that happen? Well, this guy's so patient. That's what he's waiting for, obviously.
Mike is raised with king 6 of clubs. Mo calls with his hand dominating in clubs, and Aaron's got king queen, and Aaron hits top pair.
All hearts out there.
All hearts. Let's see how Aaron's going to play it. Now, Aaron had been folding king-queen suited from early position. This time he calls with offsuit against Mike.
I think you need to bet this into Mike. I really do. You don't want to. Mike is too aware of the flop. He's probably going to just take the free card.
And he takes it down there.
If he had a heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's another thing that Mike has really, really developed in his game, that he will sometimes check a big draw in position and take a card. I mean, the use of the laggy player so that he doesn't ever have to get check raised off of the draw.
Right.
Remember? Because he's going to be checked to so many times, Dave.
Right. Although he did that earlier today, we saw Paul flop a set, bet right into Mike's flush draw. Mike raised him instead of smooth calling him, and then Paul raised him off the draw. And apparently I was correct. Italy is minus 250 to win. The draw is plus 300. Smart money might be on a draw. I wouldn't put. And I know USA is plus 600 to win. I can't see him winning.
Yeah, but draw at 3-1. You might. Yeah, maybe. Aaron's got ace king here.
It is a straddled pot. Now, he's in early position with ace-king.
He's going to raise Allen's straddle. He's going to make it 140 to go.
Not necessarily a hand that you really want to see any callers with, especially when somebody's in behind you. And I don't think he will see any callers.
And Bobby does not call. Bobby's playing kind of a tighter, solider game than I normally see him play, obviously playing up here a little bit. Yeah. Sometimes, Bobby is a guy that I don't necessarily have a complete handle on because I sometimes see him, I play with him a lot in the afternoon. He does some good things. He plays solid poker for a long time. But then he also does some things that makes you scratch your head, Dave, and you wonder, what is he doing?
Well, that's a lot of players. I mean, we talk about the nature of no limit hold'em. The nature of this game is a game of mistakes. The best players make fewer mistakes. The best players also capitalize on other people's mistakes. But everybody makes mistakes. And you've just got to realize that, obviously, Bobby doesn't have as much experience as, say, Paul does, and Bobby's going to make more mistakes than a Paul does.
And Scott is linked in under the gun here with ace-king of hearts. Now, there's not going to be a raise, and we're going to see it 5 ways here. Now, Bobby's in there with ace-6 of diamonds, and Allen's got lower hearts. Well, and here's the flop, ace-deuce-7. It is an unraised pot.
Now, Bobby's got ace-6. How is this going to get played? This will be interesting.
And Scott checks it. And Bobby's going to bet, and let's see how Scott's going to play. Now, if it's heads up between him and Bobby, he doesn't have to worry about a big pot because Bobby doesn't have any money left. And just a check call here by Scott.
Now, what is Scott going to do on the turn if some rag card comes off?
Turns a 5. Well, now he's going to bet.
150?
He's going to bet.
And it's kind of a little bit of control. Wow.
And Bobby's going to call. I don't really know what you think Scott has here.
Ace-7 deuce rainbow.
The river's a 10.
And we talk about a mistake, and this is his first mistake.
And now a $330 bet by Bobby. He's built himself a little bit of a pot. He's giving Bobby about 2-1. It's about a $600 pot, $330 to call. I got to tell you, though, if Bobby's been paying attention, I
don't know how you possibly pay this guy off. I really don't. And we were just talking about Bobby's play, and his first mistake, obviously betting the flop, nothing wrong with that when it gets checked around to you on the button.
And he says bad call when he makes the call.
Well, that's even worse.
Yeah. I mean, you might even think that Scott, well, he did, actually Scott was not in the blind. He limped in an early position. I was going to say, sometimes people might play that as a weak ace from the blind, and then they hit aces up on the turn. Now, I don't think Scott's in there with ace 5 under the gun. Too good of a player for that, but you've got to think he's probably got a big ace. And again, the more and more you watch him, I think he probably wanted to see who was going to be in the hand with the stacks, protecting his stacks. And now, if you're just against Bobby, who's a short stack, he doesn't really have to worry too much.
Well, we talk about the vulnerability of ace-king there.
Right.
Against a good player, it's pretty transparent. But you see there, he ended up making about $600. $600 new from Bobby. And you just wonder, I mean, the flop is ace-7 deuce. Now, I have no problem with Bobby's bet on the flop.
Yeah.
But when you get called by a player like Scott, what do you think he called you with? It's a rainbow board with no straight draw whatsoever. You have to be beat. I'm done with the hand once he gets called. You know, when you talk about it, you go, well, how can a guy like Scott make money? You know, why would somebody give him action? Well, there, he just made $600.
Yeah.
With the blinds only being 10-20, that's going to pay for a whole lot of poker.
Three-way action here. Ace, deuce, deuce here. Gil and Allen both have weak aces.
Yeah.
Limped around.
Good chance this is going to get chopped up.
Gil's going to bet. Allen is probably going to check call here, I would imagine.
Now, this is a hand I easily just throw away if I have ace-8. I got to tell you.
Just don't even get involved.
I can't beat a deuce, and I can't beat a real ace.
Turns a queen. Now it is going to get chopped up.
And in all likelihood, I got to know right away that I'm putting money in there to probably chop. So why even get involved?
Now, if you're in Gil's spot, though, and you think Allen has a weak ace, do you really put up to the test on the turn, and if he calls here on the river?
Yeah, why not? There's no risk.
You know the pot's going to be chopped, add some fold equity, and Allen's just going to get rid of it here. Yeah. And you really don't mind the laydown here by Allen whatsoever. He probably should have got rid of it on the flop.
Exactly.
And again, I don't think Scott is playing it over tight. He's just playing it tight. But he's not to the point, like you say, like a Kirk or some other players. Like, why would you give them any action? We've seen him raise here with a couple hands and stuff. You know.
No, he's exactly. He's not. He's certainly not. He's certainly not tight passive.
No, not at all.
No way.
Yeah.
Live straddle.
You know, it's funny. Obviously, Scott is playing it a little differently than you and I normally preach. But I'm going to really try to be open to this play because obviously he's been playing this game a lot longer than I have.
40 to call. Thank you, Gil.
And he's probably a lot better than I am.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
And look at this. We've got Mike straddling here, and Gil has got pocket queens here. Let's see how he's going to play. He's going to raise it up right under the gun in seat 5. He's going to make it 180 to go. Not going to pull that limp re-raise in Mike's straddle spot. Now, Mike has a weak ace here, Dave. Ace 3. Is he going to make this call? No, he's not even going to get involved with it. Interesting email here by Dave Halloran. He says, hey, guys, great show. It'd be great to see one of you guys down there at the table playing poker. That would give us viewers a chance to see if you put your money where your mouth is. It would also be a chance for the poor guys on the table who've suffered negative comments from you in the past. Get one back on you. All is in good fun, of course. The best. And Dave and I have played several times. We try to play it almost once a month. Dave actually asked our producer tonight, is she not in the room now, if he could play. And she said no because Dave and I are actually, we are actually alternating going down to Vegas to the World Series over the course of the next month. And a lot of people are going to be having some solo shows that they're going to be listening to. So that's why Dave is not playing tonight.
The last time I played, if you want to check out the archives, if you subscribe, check out May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
And Mia was, what, 4 or 5 weeks ago on Friday?
Something like that, yeah. But I just remember Cinco de Mayo because I remember you were drinking and I was drinking. We were having a good time. But you can check out that day.
Four-way action here, limped around. Queen deuce at 3 here with a couple clubs.
I'm not sensitive against the straddle or big blind or pocket ace.
Now Bobby's got queen 10. He's going to bet.
Doesn't make my game
He's going to bet 60 here. He's got by far the best hand. No one really has anything to call him with now.
Thanks, Ray.
He's going to take it down. Email here from Ronald Finelli saying that Betfair, the highest volume betting exchange, has the U.S. at 9.5 to 1, Italy at 4 to 9, and a draw at 7 to 2. And of course, you can see how you talk about when you're not using point spreads and stuff in sports gambling, how the odds are not the same if you bet on USA as they are for you to lay on Italy.
Of course not. They've got to make money.
Right, right. It's not going to be an even money line.
Of course not.
Right. Button moves over here to C3. But
That's
you're
why
right,
if you add it up, if you go to Vegas and you see something and you go, wait a second, they're plus 140. You know, they're plus 600 and they're only minus 250? Shouldn't it be plus 600 and minus 600? Well, it should be, but it's not. They have to make money.
And you're right. The best bet there might be the draw at 3.5 to 1. I mean, obviously USA is probably not going to win, but the 3.5 to 1 draw bet, it's probably not going to be a draw. But that might be a long, pretty big.
But the way Italy plays,
right.
It'll probably be a one-goal game.
It's a pretty good price for the draw bet.
It might be a one-goal game, and if Italy hits a post here or a crossbar there, and USA gets lucky and scores a goal, it can easily be a 1-1 game.
Checked around here on the flop, ace 7-6 with a couple of hearts, turns at 4 hearts. I think they're going to chop it up here. They're going to chop it up here. Funny. Gil actually had the best hand here with queen. Another email here from Alex Lee saying, Bart, how did you advance in Omaha, and what are some of your accomplishments? Why are you so good? Just interested to find out how you advance in the variations of the game. Are you a specialist in Omaha and poorer in No Limit? Or is it just a game you have a serious aptitude for? Well, the thing is that what I love...
We're talking about Omaha 8 or better, by the way.
What I love... We're just going to take a look at another setup here. What I love about No Limit Hold'em, Dave, especially the game here, the 5-10 game, the risk in that game is very, very small. It's a very, very big reward for a small risk. Now, if I want to win the same type of money and have the same type of hourly that I have in my 5-10 No Limit game, I would have to be playing an Omaha split pot level, maybe 40, 80 or higher, where the risk might be very, very high. In limit poker, I could do everything right and lose $3,000. It's really not going to happen to me in that 5-10 game. That's why I love No Limit Hold'em. Which game am I better at? I mean, it's tough. I think it's comparing apples and oranges. I love to play Omaha, but right now the money is better with less risk in No Limit Hold'em cash games, and that's why I play it as a cash game. Now, I won the Poker Stars Omaha High-Low tournament about 6 or 7 weeks ago. That was kind of my biggest accomplishment. It's really one of the toughest internet tournament fields that's out there on a weekly basis. It's 200 plus one, about 12,000. So, hopefully I can parlay that. Really looking forward to the $5,000 event at the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, smart money's on you. Obviously, a lot of things have to go right to do well in a tournament, any kind of tournament that is. But
I just love the idea of getting a lot of chips and starting with small blinds in a limit tournament like that.
Although that field,
nice.
the $5,000
very
field,
tough field.
It should be a tough field. You're not going to have much dead money in there. People aren't going to be taking shots at it going, well, I don't know how to play Omaha, but what the heck, $5,000? Who cares?
Now, Mo brought this in for a little bit of a stop raise here with 8-9 of clubs, and he's flopped top 2. We talk about Mo sometimes naming his price with a pre-flop raise. And Mike is going to call as he's setting up a play.
And he's got backdoor hearts.
Probably trying to maybe represent diamonds or a straight. Mo's got top 2 here, and Mo fills up.
And Mo's going to continue betting it.
That's
and you like it. I really like this.
Well, if Mike was on a draw.
You almost want to... Yeah, he's not going to get involved.
Yeah. It's also funny if Mo bets there and Mike calls and the river comes diamond. It's very, very rare. I can count the number of times that I have check raised the river.
But that might be a time.
But I think that might be a time there.
Yeah.
Because remember, he might be trying to represent something he doesn't have. You check it on the river, he might throw a big bet out there.
Yeah, I mean, I very rarely check raise the river.
Yeah.
One hand I remember check raising the river was against Dimitri, our own lovely, wonderful Dimitri, where not only did I know he was going to bet, he had the $1,000 chip in his hand.
Yeah.
So I was looking over to the left of me. I'm looking at him. I see the chip in his hand. I know he's going to throw it in there. So I go, okay, I'll check. I'll let him throw that in there before I check raise him.
Right.
Queen Jack offsuit in seat number 1 for Allen.
100 is a bet.
That might argue the action. No one does.
And we had a raise here by Mike with Queen Jack, or excuse me, 9-10 suited. Allen called with Queen Jack. Limp called, and Allen's got top pair here. Now Allen's going to check to Mike. Mike's going to bet. And, Allen might just kind of check call the whole way here. Now, Mike's got a straight draw to the 8. Now, there's 2 ways Mike could play this. He might think that Allen is check calling with diamonds here, and he might think he wants to bet again, or he could take the card with that kind of a weakish draw hand that turns a deuce. And Mike does take a card.
The thing is, Allen will probably check it to on the river. Well, now there's no point in betting if you're Mike. Wow, and Allen's going to bet, and Mike is going to call, and I got to tell you...
Mike's going to raise.
Wow.
You wonder, it's funny, you talk about Allen sometimes bets on a bluff with missed diamonds. I really don't know if there's a value to the raise, and he gets called. Because Mike made a pair. If Allen's trying to bluff with busted diamonds, you can call and win, right?
I do not understand that play.
Yeah.
At all, I got to tell you.
There's no
I
equity
gotta
there.
tell you,
Allen
if
calls
I'm
with queen
Mike,
jack.
if I'm Mike against Allen,
Yeah.
I don't like to call Allen too much, obviously, because he's rarely bluffing.
Yeah.
But on that case with that board, I call him also with a 9
Yeah.
putting him on busted diamonds. But I'm only calling. I can't raise. What am I raising for?
Yeah.
Allen's not going to lay a hand down. He's not going to lay a jack down. What, is he going to call me with a worse 9? Shoot, my kicker doesn't even play. He had 9s and deuces with a jack kicker.
Yeah.
I don't understand the play at all. Get another post here from Evil Jeff. We also had a post here from one guy up here, JCQ 2005. We're on 2+2. And we'll get to these as we can. Obviously, on some nights when the poker is a little bit slower, we can get to more emails and more of your posts. On Friday nights and Wednesday nights, when the action is pretty hot, we like to stick to the game.
Mike's going to raise it up here to 80 with king 5 of diamonds. Now, Bobby's going to call him with jack 8 of spades, and Allen's going to come in with an ace 5 of clubs. So here we go, 240 to the flop, king 3-7. Mike's hit top pair. Every time he raises with king rag, he hits it, Dave.
It's amazing.
And he's going to bet 200.
You think the chances of hitting a king there are like 70%, right, with Mike?
Now, Evil Jeff has actually responded to us, and it makes me feel a little bit better. He's actually saying...
Get that warm, cuddly
He
feeling
was
inside?
talking not necessarily about the commentary, but he was talking about how the commentary is bad because at the time when he tuned in, we were talking about smoking in the casino.
Oh,
not
man.
necessarily our analysis. And
Evil Jeff, you got to check out some of the episodes.
Yeah,
We've talked about enemas.
yeah, this is one of the lighter nights because
Yeah.
the poker action is hot.
Jeez.
Yeah.
This is nothing. But he said if there's a newbie question at us, is
Yeah.
how do you prevent viewers who have knowledge about the hole cards from communicating with the players? Obviously, how do we prevent cheating?
Yeah.
And obviously, anytime you're putting a lot of money involved in anything, there's always going to be people that try to cheat.
Right.
But this game is probably one of the safest places ever to play poker,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Tell them why.
Now Gil is going to raise here with 60 with queen 10, and Mo is in there with ace jack. Both people hit. And let's see how Mo's going to play. And it goes check check. Gil does not bet here on the queen. Turns to 6. Now again, if by not betting the flop, Mo, you've induced this bluff. Mo could be betting with anything. Is Gil forced to call now? I mean, no information, right?
Yeah. Checking gives you no information. We know that. And I got to tell you, I had no problem throwing it away.
The way he's played it now?
Yeah, just get rid of it. I don't mind that. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll go, okay, you know what? Forget it.
He makes the call, and the river
Oh,
is
wow.
spade. Oh,
10.
Gil's made 2 pair.
And if you're Mo, you got to hate your hand now. You can't really beat anything.
Gil's going to bet 300 now.
And hand it to Gil here. He's going to put a little value bet in there. He puts Mo on an ace, thinking, you know what? I'm going to put a little value bet in there. My 2 pair is good.
Mo's trying to think, well, would he call me with a spade draw here on the turn? Did he pick up backdoor
Well,
spades here?
could he have had something like King Jack of spades?
Yeah.
Even ace blank spades, ace 5 of spades, ace 8 spades,
You gotta
something
think
like
that
that.
Gil's going to bet there on the flop, though. This
Well, you'd think Gil would bet the queen, though, wouldn't you? It's a very odd play.
$300 bet into about a $400 pot. There isn't a whole lot that Mo can beat.
And I think he's going to call. And he does. Pays him off.
2 pairs good.
And Gil's going to win, what, about a $1,500 pot when it's all said and done.
Now that is, I mean, obviously, to a more advanced player, it's a pretty easy value bet. But I've actually seen that hand go down at the lower levels and somebody check queen 10
Oh,
there.
definitely. They're scared of the straight. They're scared of the backdoor spades.
Great value bet there by Gil. Great value bet.
Now, like I was saying, if you play on the internet or if you play in any poker hall, you play tournaments live or you go to the World Series, cheating happens. It's part of it. Anytime you're going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake and millions of dollars at stake, people are going to cheat. People will find ways around the rules. Having said that, this game is the safest place to play poker.
And we
One
are
of the
on a
reasons
10-minute delay.
Yeah, first of all, we're on a 10-minute delay. We are live. We're unedited. We don't change anything we say. It just spots 10 minutes. That way, by the time you guys see it at home, if you were to call your friend, it wouldn't make a difference.
Right.
The hand is over. Also, we have 7 sets of eyes watching this game. And if anything kind of looks strange or acts weird, we're on it like, you know, like a fly on shit.
Or a male in North Hollywood.
Okay, more like white on rice. I'm sorry.
His wife might come down. Oh, yeah, because she's got the
I apologize there.
It can't be. Can't be much worse than you.
Ace king here for Aaron.
You're ideal.
Just a limp.
If you had to marry an inanimate douchebag, you would be it.
Mo's got ace 4 here, and he's going to raise. We haven't really seen these plays here by Mo that often
Now,
with ace rag.
Aaron actually limped in first position
Yeah.
with ace king. Would you ever limp re-raise here or just going to call?
I think he might be a little bit intimidated by Mo. I mean, he might limp re-raise Mike.
Right, we saw him do the limp re-raise with the ace queen last time. Remember against Mo?
Well,
Early
that was
in the
against
show.
Mike, though, right?
No, it was against Mo.
Oh, that's right. 10-10-5 here on the flop. And Aaron might just give it away here.
Well, we talk about the, Mo takes the betting lead. Aaron gives it up. And the way Aaron's played this hand, I think he has to check fold.
I don't have a problem with that. Excuse me?
Now, earlier, if anybody remembers early in the night, Aaron made it 100 to go with ace-queen of hearts. Mo made it 200 to go with pocket tens. And Aaron made it 1,000 to go with ace-queen of hearts. And Mo obviously quickly threw away tens. And Aaron's going to throw it away. You can't blame that at all. Mo uses the power of position. Now, I know you like sushi. I'm a huge sushi nut. Do you like that? So that's smelt egg with a little quail egg on top.
That is with, what is it, salmon roe in there too?
No, just smelt egg.
Oh, it's smelt egg?
Smelt egg with quail egg on top.
I've had that. You know the funny thing, I do love sushi, and I've had that before. I've had quail egg like that. I'm not a huge fan of, like, roe sushi, like little eggs.
See, I don't like salmon roe. I don't like the big ones. But the smelt egg with the quail egg, I love that. I always have that. Yeah. I do. I also get
I just don't like the texture of it. They taste like little eggs, you know?
One of my other favorite things I do, obviously Mike straddled here, makes it $40 to go. I love having my uni, sea urchin, with quail egg on top of it.
Wow, that's really hefty sushi, because a lot of people do not like uni because of the texture of it.
It tastes like the bottom of the ocean. It's so good.
Barry's going to raise it up here with ace-king suited. Malteser?
I like Maltesers. I'm not in the mood for it right now, but thank you.
Going to get a call here by Mike, and Mike is dominated here. Out of position, and you wonder if he's going to go to war if an ace comes out. Mike's going to check blind here. 7-7 here on the flop.
I tell you, sometimes Mike lives a charmed life. We see oftentimes he's in there with dominated hands, but fortunately for him, the ace does not fall again. And Mike checks and folds. Barry takes down a pot.
Button moves over here to seat number 2. Scott, again, I throw that question out at everyone, keep it interactive.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is that, a good move, positive expected move with kings? Is sometimes, can a case be made that that's a little too tight? Button moves over here to seat 2.
Switching to Jack 7, Mo. Jack 7. All right. Put on the block. 6, 6, 6.
Mike is in the big blind here. Bobby calls. Jack 10 suited. Paul is going to call.
50-50.
Couple of suited, or a couple of ace rags in here. And Aaron is going to call. And Mike is going to raise it up to 100. Now, is Paul going to call here with ace-8 of hearts? Bobby calls, and Paul calls.
If you saw my hand, you would raise it. He's hoping to catch a pair.
Now, Aaron's not going to come in here with 10-3 offsuit. He does not. We're going to see this three ways here. 3 ways here. Here we go to the flop.
He is in New Zealand, so I'm very early age.
Mike, the pre-flop raiser here. Well, queen 5-5. If Mike leads out here with ace high, you probably figure that he's going to take it down, but he checks it. And Bobby's going to take a little stab at it. He's going to bet 240, and that's going to do it there. I mean, unless Mike has some sort of incredible read here, Bobby takes it down. So you take a little, what is that, chicken kebab he's eating?
I think it was actually a steak.
Oh, yeah.
Kebab. Lamb kebab, there you go. Lamb.
You know, Alan.
Just chowing away. I opened the door, he was like, whoa! What are you doing? There you are.
Again, people are familiar with the show. We got a computer here, monitor here, flop cam.
Cameras.
Yeah, cameras.
Kind of a cool little system. Actually, if you come to Live at the Bike.
I'm looking at you guys here, like I'm looking at the camera, but then I look up here, I see us, and then we've got a little display over here. Maybe we could actually shoot that display someday. It looks pretty cool. It's actually an enlarged hole card camera on
Maybe
a
I'll bring my camcorder, I'll flip it around one day. That'd be cool.
Basically, it's a bunch of 10 small hole card cameras blown up on a big plasma for us to see. Pretty cool. But sometimes I never understand it because both Evelyn and Ronnie attempt to get the cards from the smaller hole cams down on the.
Well, because they're much lower. I mean, imagine them looking up all day. Their neck would be
easier.
Look at Ronnie's neck. You want Ronnie to be sitting like that all day?
No.
Jeez. I mean, it's up so high for us. Basically, they make this job as comfy and comfortable for us as possible.
Does he play poker in between? When he's losing, you can't drag him out of the casino.
Button moves over here to seat 4.
He's winning, he loves to enjoy it. You know what I mean? He's going to walk around. Victory lap. Yeah.
Now, if you're new to the show, you can check us out. Check out our website. We've got a bunch of cool things on there. We've got Under the Gun with David Tuckman. It's my blog. I know most of you that have watched the show numerous times are bored with this. But new people, go check it out. I started this blog last year during the World Series. and I will continue. I actually have written 2 since our last update, but for whatever reason, they're not up.
Okay. We do have our video blog up, new episode from yesterday.
Yeah, really cool video blog. After our show, you can watch it. Now, our video blog is a place where Bart and I analyze and dissect your hands at home and some of the hands that we get involved in.
Well, look at this. Aaron here with ace, queen of clubs. He's raised. And weaker aces in the hand. King, 3-10. Again, Mike kind of gets a little bit lucky here. Now, Barry's flopped the best hand here with the ace-10.
Yeah, now it's an easy flop for Scott to get away from. He's got 9s.
I tell you, Barry is really aggressive post-flop. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, would you almost say too aggressive? You've called with ace-10, which is somewhat of a mistake early position. Now he fires into 3 players plus the pre-flop raise.
I don't mind it.
Really?
As long as you can get away from it.
Right.
If somebody raises you, or even if somebody calls you, you've got
got to
to
be done with it.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with betting it, though. What, are you going to check and just fold? He just earned himself about $300 by doing that. Not a bad play being post-flop aggressive. I mean, I never want to pull that back. I think it's one of the strengths of Barry's game. But as I was saying, you can check out our website, the video blog. Obviously, we analyze hands and we dissect hands during the course of the game, but obviously the game is continuing to move on. So sometimes we have to cut our analysis short. But in the video blog, we go into full analysis of your hands. If a hand is kind of troubling you, you can email us at live@thebike.com. In the subject holding, put in there hands for blog, and give us any pertinent information about the hand. How deep you are, how deep your opponent is, positions, were you drunk, were they drunk, table image, so forth and so on. And we'll analyze your hand for you. Do our best.
Limp. Mike's going to limp in here with, looks like 10 deuce of diamond.
Other things on our website, obviously we've got poker news there, we've got poker terminology there, a lot of really cool things. We have the archives.
Got about an hour left in the show here. This one's limped around 5 ways, so it's a $100 pot. There's the queen for Scott.
Now, I assume Scott's going to play it pretty slow again. He's going to not try to build himself a big pot with just the queen-jack there.
Wow, yeah, he checks it.
Not the flop he's looking to hit.
Really paying it very conservatively. And Gil is going to bet with king 8.
Well, he probably thinks he has the best hand. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And when it checks around the Scott, you imagine Scott's probably going to do a call here? Yeah, and he just calls.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, if he calls me, I'm taking the free card on the turn for sure, but I don't think he might even bet the turn. We'll see.
Turns a deuce, it's a club. Now he's got the queen of clubs in his hand, and now he bets. And once again...
We see a lot of good players do that. It's a play that was never in my arsenal before, but I'm going to actually start playing it a little more. The check, call, and then bet in on the turn.
Deuce of clubs. And again, I will point out that you have to wonder if Scott is checking there because he's going to see who's going to bet. And once it's Gil, now, you know, it feels real comfortable playing queen-jack because Gil just doesn't have that much money in front of him.
I think that's part of it. I mean, I think it's a way of controlling pot size.
Yeah.
You get when you're playing it from out of position, you get an awful lot of information by seeing what everybody else does. And obviously, if he takes any heat on that hand, he's probably just going to throw it away.
Take a look at another chip count here.
Yeah, 37,000 on the table. Wow. Barry with 8,400, Scott with 6,400. Gil and Paul only with 1,300 and 1,400 respectively.
Let's take a look at the differences here. Mo's up 3,500. Mike is down 4,500.
And Mike, who couldn't lose for about 6 weeks straight, I think he's had, I want to say, 3 straight losing sessions on Live at the Bike now.
Now, this is an interesting hand. Gil is raised here. Mo's going to call with 7s. And I was wondering if Paul was going to get... Well, actually, Mo is re-raised. Okay. So Paul easily gets away from ace-queen. We always talked about, you know, will a good, solid player call a raise in the blind with ace-queen off? Sometimes even ace-king off, right? Get an email here from Bernie Mackinson. He says, David Barton, I know this Prodigy idea has thrown around earlier, but maybe after the series is over, you guys could take the worst no-limit hold'em player who has the potential to become better and give them some poker lessons. Then throw them in the game and see what happens. Kind of like a Daniel Negreanu-esque type thing.
Right. Live at the Bike Prodigy.
You know, I actually had an idea, and I haven't really thrown it off of Evelyn, but, you know, with you and I doing like a little bit of solo, I know that you've got some guest commentators lined up in the game.
Right.
But it might actually give us an opopportunity to maybe have one of the viewers come in. I don't know exactly what we would do, like some sort of
It's not
contest.
like a little contest to see if you can guest commentate. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
Because again, David and I, you know, we're going to be alternating going to Las Vegas. Gil just brought that one with 9s, did not get any calls.
And what we will give you, we're actually going to post probably on the website, but we'll also let you know later on next week what our World Series of Poker schedule is going to be like.
Yeah.
So you can check us out. Now, the only thing I ask, and I'm gonna say this for Bart as well, if Bart or I am playing in a game, be aware of that. I mean, if you want to come over and say hi, I love that. It's all great, but obviously we're working too.
Absolutely.
But
Remember,
not-
you know, a lot of people think you're an ass anyways, because the way you act when
Yeah.
you first meet you.
No, I mean, if I meet somebody there, I like I said, I'm looking forward to obviously meeting Baron Van Toth over down
Right.
at the World Series. You know, when you're playing poker, you're playing poker, and you want to play.
Right.
If I'm not at the poker table, hey, let's go get a beer. I don't
Yeah,
give a shit. That's
yeah.
great. Cool.
Barry's going to pop it up here with King 3 of diamonds. He's going to make it 140. We haven't seen anything outrageous really happen tonight. You know, Wednesday night, the 2040 game was really one of the best shows that we've ever done in a year and a half. Anyone missed that show? Unbelievable stuff that we saw go on.
Yeah, you could not script Wednesday's show. It was absolutely ridiculous, off the hook. Tonight's show, obviously, a little bit slower. And that's one of the natures, obviously. We do a live show. It's unscripted. It's unedited. You never know what you're going to get.
Hey, there's my favorite masseuse, Marty.
Yeah, he looks like a Marty.
Yeah. He does a great job, though.
Yeah, I always love, though. I always love when you get this Korean or Chinese dealer that comes to the table. She doesn't speak a word of English, yet her name is Karen. Go, that's your real name? Karen. And she points to it.
Yeah, Barry, I think, likes Marty because he gives it like a happy ending.
That's why he likes my wife, apparently.
Mo's going to limp in here with deuces. Paul's going to limp in on the button. Paul's got King Jack.
What, you want my spot? Go. See if I can move up.
Mike is straddled here.
Scott.
And I got to tell you, normally I love playing in this 10-20 game. This is not a great game. Because Bobby has really tightened up his play tonight.
Mike checks it. We need to see Scott's cards over there in C2.
I'll tell you get a colostomy bag and just hook it up.
Here we go to the flop.
Bathroom, do it in the bag.
Scott's got, looks like a 7-8 of clubs here. King, Queen, 4.
Okay, that's why we have
Couple of diamonds.
That's why we have McDonald's.
Paul's got King Jack. And
Well, Bobby, when you play 2 minutes every hour.
he's going to bet 180 here. And I do not think that he's going to get any action here.
No, probably not. Now, you're talking about, obviously, when you and I were propping, obviously we'd talk about all the levels of playing poker and how good you have to be to beat these games and that game.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down and talking to Barry Greenstein about this, and obviously a big part of beating poker and beating it for a profit is game selection. And obviously that's taken out of our hands when we're propping, but now we're allowed to do game selection. If you look at this game here, is this a game you might necessarily jump into? I mean, you look at Bobby, who's normally could be a little bit of a loose one. Tonight he's playing it real tight.
Yeah, he's stepping up a little bit.
Not making too many mistakes. You got Mo in seat 8 is pretty solid. You got Paul in seat 9, who's a phenomenal player. Seat 2 is obviously not going to give away any money. You know, Mike is a very good player. You got Gil in there. Where are you going to make your money?
There isn't really an early, easy money.
No, there's not. I mean, this is not exactly a great game.
Email here from gentleman, Let's Trade DNA, who never signs his emails. And it's interesting what he said. He did a little sports betting. And we got a raise here by Scott on the button. He's going to make it 130 to go with Queen Jack off suit. And he is going to take it down. He said that he bet $400 on the USA to win. And if they win, he wins 37-29, almost over 9-1 Dave.
Right.
He also bet on the game to draw, 100 to win 400. So he's risking 500. And if there's at least a draw, he pushes. Obviously, if the USA wins, it's a huge win for him.
Right.
So he's basically almost like hedging a bet a little bit in terms of, you know, he's got 2 of the 3 bets.
Right, he's risking 500 pretty much. I mean,
He's almost given himself 1-to-1 shot at a draw or a USA win.
Right.
Which, you know, might not necessarily be, you know, all that bad of a bet.
Yeah, there's a reason why. I mean, there's a reason why the line is so obviously heavily favored toward Italy.
Right.
You know, you got to look at how badly USA played against Czechoslovakia.
Paul's going to raise here with pocket 10s.
Sorry.
Pocket 10s here.
Bite my tongue, Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, Slovakia didn't make it.
I know.
Allen's going to call here with 7-5 of diamonds. Mike's in there with 4-5 off suit.
I'm not an advocate for sports betting, I got to tell you.
Well, ace 4-9 here. Paul's got the best hand, staring at 1 overcard, the ace.
And Paul also very tight player, but certainly not tight weak. He's aggressive, and he's going to put some money in the pot.
Is Mike going to make? What is Mike doing here with bottom pair? He's going to call. Well, Might he think he might be able to represent something if Paul doesn't like the ace
Represent
out here?
what, though?
Here we go to the turn. Turn to jack. See how Mike's going to play this. Now he's going to bet.
Now, a lot of good players do check call with their ace and then bet on the turn. But it's a very odd play for Mike.
And Paul's going to call. He doesn't buy it. Now, Mike could catch a 4 or a 5. And it turns an 8.
And that doesn't do anything.
There's Al Barbarian,
Yep.
my horse, World Series.
Philly Al Barberi.
Yeah.
He's having a phenomenal year.
And it's going to go check, and Paul, and Mike, obviously, he slows down.
Well, how do you bluff when Philly Al is squeezing your tits? I mean, seriously. Philly Al, actually, I've been pushing for an interview with Al Barberi, Philly Al there, because he's been on such an incredible tournament run. I mean, this guy is now ranked 13th, by the way. That guy in the yellow shirt. He is now currently ranked 13th in the card player tournament standings. He will probably play in every single World Series event.
I got $4,000 invested in Dave.
Well, there you go. He is going to play in as many events as he possibly can up at the World Series, and he's on such a great run. It's ridiculous. I think he's up almost $200,000 this year, in 2006. Former professional baseball player. And he's been on Live at the Bike a couple times as well. And one of these days, when we get a slow day, we'll probably get him in for an interview at some point.
Mike is going to raise it up here to 60 with 6-4 offsuit.
Ask him what his tournament secrets are.
You're in this hand, right?
We're heads up here. Barry against Mike, and we're always waiting for that dynamite hand here. Well, it's not going to happen this hand. King 9-7, both players miss. See if Mike's going to make the continuation bet here. He does. That's 100. Is Barry just going to take one off? He calls with ace-jack here.
He's going to just take one off. Well, he's ahead.
Turn to 10.
Well, he's picked up a draw. He's actually got a double gutter.
Double gutter to the queen into the 8 here.
Yep.
Obviously with overcards. Check.
And Mike almost has to fire here. He does. He's got nothing. He's got 6 high.
Bets 400.
And I'm assuming Barry, he sees the double gutter.
Does he see the double gutter?
He's
He's not gonna stick around.
No.
And Mike shows him.
Mike
the
loves
4-6.
to show the bluff.
Again, we can talk about that kind of a tell, because when he doesn't show his hand, he usually had something.
Queen of Hearts on the river. Barry would have made the nuts. Yeah, and a lot of you always point that out, and a lot of people always say, yeah, but what good does that do me? The hand is over. Well, if you replay the hand in your head and you start thinking about the way Mike was acting when he was bluffing, well, maybe you can pick it up next time.
Oh, you guys aren't doing honest system?
Button moves over here to C5.
Got about 50 minutes left in tonight's show.
You had Faradon in the background. 20-40 stud high-low. I mean, what's a good hourly in that game, Dave? It's like a slow death split pot.
I like the game. I think it's usually pretty lively.
Yeah, no, it is, but it's just, you just can't make that much money in the game. Mike is going to raise it up here. Alan's going to call.
Remember I told you there's no time you can ask me if I want you to call that I'll ever say no. So you don't have to ask me. It's rhetorical.
It's funny. Alan asked me the same exact question today. I raised with ace-king. That was the ace-king hand. I raised with ace-king, and Alan said, do you want me to call? I go, I always want you to call, Alan. Always.
Well, Alan's got middle pair here, and it goes check, check. And the turn is a 6. Mike picks up a pair. Alan checks again, and Mike checks again. And the river's a 4. Check. And Mike doesn't need to bet.
Right. And once again, you're not really looking to bluff Alan. You're looking to hit a hand and then obviously have Alan pay you off.
You asked him to call, man. So you're calling me the whole way if I bet.
I'm a very mysterious player.
I'm trying to remember the date that we had Alan in here for guest commentary. And
I
you know,
have no style.
we say this about Alan with absolute love.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the guy. I adore him. He's such a great guy. Really is. Yeah, it was the Friday, actually, the Friday before Mother's Day.
May 14th.
There you go.
Or May 12th, actually.
May 12th, I think, was the date that I had him in there.
$80 raise here by Mike. The reason why I know that date, I'll get to in a second here. Got a raise here by Mike with ace-3. Now, Gil's call with ace-deuce. Bobby's called with a little That's Allen spade hand, suited 6-3 of spades. Queen 5-4. Well, Bobby's got the up and down open-ender, Dave. This is what we talk about if he can represent 6-7 as well.
Now, how about if a deuce were to fall?
And Gil calls.
If a deuce falls, how much money is Mike going to lose? Is Mike going to double? Is he going to double Bobby up?
Yeah,
because
Mike would have a wheel. Here we go to the turn.
And there's the deuce.
And the turn's the deuce. And Bobby's got the nuts, and Mike has a wheel. Oh, what reverse
And this is the kind
odds.
of stuff you absolutely love.
Yeah.
Now, Bobby's got to figure out a way to make sure he gets all the money in the pot.
Well, he's not really
Now,
that
how deep is he? Well, he's all in. He just says it.
Moves
And
all
Mike
in.
immediately
Mike
calls.
instantly calls.
And Mike is drawing to a chop. He needs a 6 to chop the pot up.
Yep. And here we go to the river. River's a jack.
That's not going to work, and Bobby's got it.
Yep.
What do you got?
Higher straight.
You fucking blind?
I tell you, I really like Mike. I consider him a friend. He's a nice guy and everything. Look at him tipping the dealer. But we always pointed out, when he's losing, he's just that much
more
more.
entertaining. Yeah.
So much more.
Oh, man. What a gin card there, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You knew it, obviously, if it comes down.
Yep.
Well, Ace, we were talking about it. Ace wheel card can never make the nut straight. And you've got to be aware of that.
We've talked about
It can
that.
never make the nut straight. There can always be a higher card.
And look at that. Mike throws the cards in there in disgust. And Mike is down now, over $5,000 for the night.
Yeah.
Fucking made in 2 hours. Somebody has 3-6.
What did he say?
Says the first effing hand I made in 2 hours, and someone has 3-6.
Nice stick.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, obviously, when Mike is hitting his hands, he is going to get paid off. The problem is you don't always hit your draws. You don't always hit. We saw one time he jumped into a 500 game, and I think he had 2 straight draws and a flush draw, and he hit it every single time. Now, obviously, you're not going to do that. And days when Mike is not hitting his cards, his swings are going to be huge. And you'll see Mike quickly go up $5,000, quickly go down $5,000.
Got a little raise here by Scott out of seat 2. He's got ace-queen, ace of clubs, queen of diamonds here. And Mike is called with ace-10. When is the ace going to come up on the flop here, Dave, for Mike when he's dominating? He's escaped it every single time.
Right, and he's talking about getting cold deck, but I mean, he's actually lucky. Once again, he escapes it,
Now, how's Scott going to play it? Check. And Mike checks behind him.
And Mike's... Are we going to see a little steaming Mike now here?
Turns a 9. Check again. River's a jam.
And Scott's just not interested in putting any money in his pot. Well, now he's going to just turn it over, ace
And
queen.
Mike might think that ace-10 might have been good at the end, but he loses to a higher ace. It's funny you were talking about how crazy Aaron played sometimes, but really played tight. We haven't seen him play many games.
I was actually kidding. I'd never met him before last night.
Oh, you hadn't? All right.
No.
I thought you had said you had seen him play crazy in other smaller games.
I was just
That's
screwing around.
peculiar. Okay.
I had no idea who he is.
Tuckman, asshole-ish type thing. Bud moves over here to seat 8. You sometimes give the dealers hard. You don't give them a hard time. I just find it amusing because you say it in such a way, and I don't know you don't mean it, that it sounds a little condescending when they deal the cards to you and not in front of you. You're like, sweetie, over here.
When I ask him to deal it to me, when I'm sitting in seat 3 and he deal like seat 5, and I go, "Can you deal me over here?"
No, I know, but
I
know you don't mean anything by
Usually
it.
the first 2 times I say it really nice. I go, "Can you deal me over here? This is where I like to be dealt."
Yeah.
And then like after the 7th time, I get really annoyed about it.
Aaron raises here with king, queen suited.
Yeah, and if they're going to continue doing it when I throw my cards in the muck, I might throw them to seat 9 instead of to them.
And I've never seen so many people get pissed at you, and you're fully within your rights, and you don't even say it in a rude way. When someone's behind you and you turn around and say no behind, the looks they give you that I can see when you turn back around.
Right. Well, it's funny. I don't really have a problem with somebody sitting behind me. I've had my friends sit behind me and sweat me. I've had my wife sit behind me and sweat me, and that's cool. I have no problem with it. What I don't like, and maybe it's my own little quirk, I don't like when somebody stands over me. I'm sitting down and I have some guy who's like 6'2". I have some guy who's like 6'2" standing over me, looking down, and I like look up like this behemoth is looking over me, and it's kind of like,
Did you hear it, right?
Button moves here to seat 9.
Now if anybody wants to sit behind me, that's cool. I have no problem with that. It's a standing I don't like. Maybe I'm the only guy in the world that does that. I don't know. I know Paul Darden was interviewed when he was on the World Poker Tour, and he said that's one of his pet peeves as well.
Snake, what are you doing here?
Turns a deuce.
Yeah, nobody's got anything here. Scott's got the best hand with sixes. But Barry's going to fire, and once again, does Barry's bet make sense at all? And Allen's calling.
Allen is called here with, what, a gut shot wheel draw to the 5?
How do you call that?
I don't know what he's
Two hearts
doing.
and two clubs out there.
Turn, and the river's a 6.
Is he going to represent? He
I
is.
guess so. He's going to come out and bet now.
Well, he's missed his draw.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Wow.
And Scott obviously would have made a set of 6s on the river, but he's not going to stick around.
Yeah.
Now you wonder, obviously, I was going to say Barry's bet on the turn didn't make much sense because he was in last position. What didn't he bet on that flop? What is he trying to represent?
Yeah.
I think he bets a jack. I think he bets an ace. I think he bets hearts. Got our first email here from Joe McClain. He says,
I actually, Joe
says,
ruined it.
I want in the booth, I happen to have a broadcasting degree from Chico State, and I'm going to say that's actually going to disqualify him because that means he was probably going to be too good and they'll make us look bad.
Well, Joe actually kind of ruined it because, I know you had people lined up, and I wanted to bring him in for one of the 3 to 5 games, but now that he's asked, I might have to say no. I was going to actually, the next time I saw him, really, I was going to bring it up. Ace-Jack here, Ace-Jack suited. Mike's got pocket 8s in the straddle spot.
200.
He makes it 200 more. Now, Bobby's got Ace-Jack offsuit. That's the hand I was talking about. Now, Mo is behind him as well in the hand, Dave. He's going to call.
I'm going to write a blog tomorrow.
And Mo's going to call.
Got a new subject matter tomorrow.
Here we go. Three-way action.
Nice flop. It's not a bad flop at all for Mike. Really
No,
isn't.
one overcard, gut shot straight draw to the 6. He bets 400.
And probably the best hand still. We talk about when there's only one overcard. That's usually the overcard you don't mind having. You don't really want to say a jack, a queen, a king, or an ace. Cards that are usually in your opponent's hands.
Email here from Matt saying, hey guys, I'm not understanding this move very well. The check call bet out on the turn. I don't see it as effective. Maybe you could explain it again. By check calling, you gain no information, and by throwing in a blockish type, quote unquote, bet on the turn, you also gain very little information. Thanks again. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a play. It's not a play that Bart or I had used earlier in our no limit careers, but it's a play that I see a lot of good players use. We see Mo do it sometimes. I've seen Paul in seat 9 do it. Now I'm seeing Scott do it in seat number 2, where it's pretty much you're seeing that you're in first position now. If you bet, if you get 2 or 3 calls, you really have no idea where you're at. Are these guys calling you with a draw? Are they setting up a big play on the turn? Do they have a set? Who knows? But by checking, sometimes you get to see what everybody else is doing. Now, I think sometimes they're doing that. If more than one person is in the pot, they're ready to just throw the hand away.
Jack 9-4 here, limped around. Well, Aaron's got a dry flush draw from up front.
I mean, I also think they're kind of controlling pot size.
And Scott's got a set of 4s, and he's going to bet. He is going to bet here. He's going to bet 140. I'm sure he doesn't mind building this pot up.
No, not at all.
But unfortunately for him, nobody can call here.
When Aaron did not call the flush draw, he takes it down. Now, I was going to say, you're controlling pot size, and you've got to understand that these professional poker players, these cash game players, they are putting money in the pot, and their opponent, it really puts their opponent in a tough spot, because if they want to raise them, they don't know what they're raising. Is this guy doing this with a set? Is he doing it with 2 pair? What is he doing it with, and do I really want to raise this guy? So they're almost naming their own price. Now, if you actually were to raise one of these guys and they only had 1 pair, they would almost always muck it, wouldn't they?
Button moves over here, C3 to Aaron.
I mean, I guess it's just another way, another strategy. Obviously, you can bet and then bet and then bet. You can check raise, but obviously that's building up the pot a little bit more, and sometimes you might not want to do that.
What happens to that carpet draw?
Mo's going to raise up here with ace-king, and Allen's going to call with a dominated ace-jack. And you wonder if Allen will go broke. He'll get stacked on this hand. And Gil is going to call with jack-3 suited. Obviously, we talk about how, ace-jack gets you broke in a cash game. Here we go to the flop.
Well, fortunately for him, an ace did not fall.
Yeah, well, Mo's not going to bet out. And if Allen were to ever bet here with the gut shot, he would take it down and get
Guaranteed.
checked around. Turns a 5. Now Mike Gill bet. No, checked around once again.
Oh, pretty passive play here.
And the river's an 8. And
Backdoor diamonds, but Mo's going to take this down with ace-king high.
Ace-king is gonna win it.
Yeah, he takes it down. Now I'm going to do a little research, and I'm going to actually ask a couple of players that I really respect, some of the top cash game players in the area. And I'm going to ask them about the check, call, and then bet out on the turn play. And I'll get back to you, and we'll talk about it on Monday or Tuesday's show, and I'll even write about it in my blog.
Well, you know, the interesting, though... Button moves over here to seat 4. Well, the interesting thing, though, is that, you know, it's almost sometimes could be considered like a blockish bet, Dave, where if you're doing it against a good player, they might know what you're doing, and they might just raise there with ace-king. Say it's ragged board, and the guy check calls, now he bets into the turn. See what I mean? Button moves over here to seat 4.
I mean, it's interesting. The first couple of times I've seen that play, I was a little confused by that because it's not a play you see that much in limit hold'em, maybe once in a while. But in no limit hold'em, I've now seen a lot of good players do it. So.
Mike has made it 80 to go here with ace-6. He gets a couple of callers. King, Jack, 7 on the flop.
Yeah, Bobby outflops them all. And Bobby's in great shape because they're sharing the cards.
Mike bets 100, and this is sometimes what I'm a little confused. I mean, can you play 7-10 this passively if you think you have the best hand? Turn is a queen.
Well, this might be one of those, you know, check and then bet right into your
he's
opponent.
picked up an open-ended straight draw now. You pick up a draw, why not bet?
And there's actually also value to this bet. You might get Mike off a jack.
Mm-hmm.
You might get him off a jack for sure. And the river was a queen, wouldn't have changed anything, and Bobby would have won it anyway. I mean, I guess sometimes by checking, you can also see what all your opponents are doing.
Yeah. No, you said it once it's smut. Yeah, it's gone. No, I didn't say it. Hey, no. I said, well, after it
So
was
David
much.
Gladstone has asked, when does the replay of Wednesday night's show start? Well, the replays start at noon Pacific time, so Mondays goes from noon to 3, Tuesdays goes from 3 to 6, and Wednesdays would probably start sometime between 6 and 6:20, I would say, with whatever, you know, sometimes the shows go over a little bit.
Right.
6 to 6:30, I would say.
So Wednesday's show starts at 9-ish. Friday's show starting at midnight.
Surprised Dave Gladstone, he's not a subscriber to the archives? Are you kidding me? Got a raise here by Mike with ace-5 offsuit. $14.95, it's well worth it.
It really is. It really is. I mean, just the 2 episodes of Barry Greenstein commentating is worth it.
And once again, Mike is dominated playing weak aces. He has dodged the ace several times.
Yeah.
That's part of the game.
I mean, it's been like 4 times tonight. How long is it going to last for?
And one of these times we're going to have like an ace-8 flop.
And here's the ace. Oh, and Mike's got 2 pair. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean,
unbelievable.
Unbelievable luck. And you know what? Alan's going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah, Alan might go broke here.
Alan's pretty deep, though. How deep is Alan?
I looked at Mo when the flop came.
Well, you know, Barry hasn't even folded yet. Yeah, Alan's got about 3,500.
Well, it's an easy laydown for Barry. It really is. In pocket eights, you've got to realize, if Mike is bluffing, okay, great, but you're going to have to call 2 more bets.
And is Alan going to check raise here?
I think so.
Or just call? He is going to raise.
And what do you do if you're now? If you're Mike, you know he has an ace, and you know you have the best hand. What do you do?
King. Well, Mike doesn't have that much more left. Alan's check raised 1,000. Now you can't beat deuce 3. You can't beat bottom set. It's rarely that Alan shows strength, but you can beat ace king and ace queen.
Now before comes,
and he pushes all in.
If before comes, Mike is still good.
Yeah.
But if the turn comes, say, higher than a 5 and it double pairs.
Can you imagine what Mike might do?
What Mike might do.
And Alan calls. Oh, here we go.
$7,000 pot almost.
Turns a 9. Alan needs a 9 or a queen. Ooh, and the river's a 3. Oh, man. Mike would have turned the table over.
Almost as if you were rooting for it.
Wow.
And Mike doubles through there. Now, I don't think he had Alan covered.
No.
Trying to get exact count of what Mike had.
Yep.
And it looks like he had about 1,300 more.
I mean, isn't that horrid, especially if it's a 9 at the end there?
Yeah. So we're looking at about a $5,400 pot when it's all said and done. And, that's the problem with a hand like ace-queen. Some people can say, well, does Mike go broke with ace-5 if it doesn't hit 2-pair? Who knows?
Yeah.
But you've got to realize that your hand is transparent with ace-queen.
And, Mike is good enough now, and obviously Alan doesn't realize it, that there's no way Mike is probably pushing with a hand there that is not as good as Alan, unless it's with a big draw. But you got to understand there's no point in semi-bluffing Alan once he check raises because Mike knows there's no fold at.
Talk about the implied odds there when you're looking at it. I mean, Alan, ace-queen.
But what I'm saying is there's no way Mike pushes with a hand like ace-jack.
Yeah.
He might. I mean, Alan can't beat ace-king, and I think Mike is savvy and smart enough to know that there's no point in pushing back with a semi-bluff, because once Alan check raises, you know he has a big hand, or what he thinks is a big hand, to pull all his chips in. No point with the semi-bluff.
No, he's not going anywhere. There's no chance.
So, I just wonder what Mike would have done with ace-jack. I don't think he's going to push back. He might call. I don't know.
I'd love to see it. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Is Mike going to get in trouble with a dominated hand? So far, he's dodged those bullets.
Pocket jacks here for Mo in the big blind.
Oh. That's usually a pretty big raise here from Mo. And it's funny, Mo's a pretty good player, but you see some really experienced players never raising jacks out of the big blind in this case.
Let's see what he's going to do.
I almost guarantee he'll raise, and he's going to make it $300 more.
Of course, we saw Scott not raise. Scott limped him with ace-9 of diamonds from up front here.
And he's not going to get involved.
There we go. Now it's coming.
Yeah, now it's on.
And I don't know if anybody's going to call this. I really don't.
It's not bad. You put about 10 people on it, take about a half hour.
Yeah, I tipped two of the foremen up on the way up to I'll bake up here myself.
Just a few people. Got about 9 people on it.
Yeah, exactly. Cost me $9 on the way up here.
Pretty efficient.
I got to tell you, I love the Bicycle Casino. I really think it is the place to play poker if you're in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
I don't just say that blowing smoke up everybody's ass.
Right.
I really do think it's a great place to play. But I really wish we'd revamp our air conditioning system.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the problem is.
There's always a problem.
Yeah.
And I think Evelyn went running out of here because I think Mo threatened to take the game off the table.
Well, they said it went up to like 75 degrees, 80 degrees.
Yeah.
You guys are hot.
Yeah.
Look at Mike's head. It's glistening.
I just don't. Sometimes I don't understand it. Yeah. Enough on that subject. Don't get me going, Dave.
Three ways, limped around.
Yeah.
King, Jack, 6, couple of clubs.
What do I have? Jack 7? Yeah, Jack 7.
Turns an ace.
Yep. Barry's now got the best hand here. He also has the ace of clubs.
Well, now Mike is going to bet into it as a bluff.
Pure bluff, and I got to tell you, I just call.
Yeah, I don't
no
know if
value
there's
to
any
raising
value
here.
raising here.
Really, none at all.
But he makes the raise and Mike folds. Just a call and a call, right?
Probably just a call and a call.
Yeah.
You got to realize if you raise there and he repops you, then what do you do? Now, obviously, you don't want him to get there. Let's say he has, the river was a 10 of clubs. Let's say Mike was making that move with, a queen 5. The 10 comes off there. Now there's a one-liner to a straight. You really want to lose a lot of money. But I think sometimes that's worth the risk. If it comes out real scary and he comes out with a big bet on the river, maybe you throw it away. But if it comes out a blank, like a 5 or something like that, okay. Let him bluff another $300 or $400 into it. Maybe you make some more money out of it.
Button moves over here to seat 8, and Barry Woods has got a couple of pocket rockets here. And you know that Mike's probably going to play 5-3 offsuit from early position after a limp, and Barry's going to
wouldn't
raise.
you? Well, not out of position, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
90.
And he makes it 90 to go.
And the question is Barry going to go broke if Mike...
Yeah.
Now, remember, here's the thing with 2 wheel cards here. Sometimes you can make a guy with aces have top set. Oh, but look at this. Mike is going to pull the limp re-raise. And is there any value to raising here? Like you said. And Barry is just going to call. Mike,
that's how he played. He played kings earlier that way against Mo.
Queen 10-8, and Mike has totally whiffed here.
And I tell you, I just call. I just call.
$500 bet
I call
here.
one more time. I let him bet the turn, and then I raise him big
Really?
on the
What
turn.
do you think that Mike has? Is there a possibility he has queens here?
He could. I'll take the chance. It's heads up. I got aces. If he's going to beat me, he's going to beat me. What am I going to do? If I raise here, what is he going to throw away queens?
Come on, you just hit the flop every time again?
Mike
He's not going to throw the queens away.
Barry raises it up to 1,200 here.
I mean, obviously, there's a million different ways to play this hand, but I don't mind against Mike, specifically Mike. You call one time, you let Mike bet 1,000 in on the turn, or even 1,500 on the turn, and then I pop him up because the pot is big enough at that point. Because you got to start thinking about the hands
Would
that
you
Mike.
pop him if the jack of spades comes on the turn?
I pop no matter what comes out.
Really?
I don't care.
I don't mind the way that Barry played that hand.
No.
Now, I understand what you're saying if the board comes a little bit less scary, but that's a very connected board there.
It's connected, but like Mike does, that makes that move with 3-5. He could have nothing.
I got to tell you, I haven't seen him make that limp re-raise in months with that, just as a pure move against.
He did
Barry.
it against me a month ago at Deuce 4.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen Mike do it so many times that
Now,
it's like.
What I was getting to though was
Yeah.
sometimes the value of 2 wheel cards.
Yeah. Oh right.
I made one of the biggest pots of my life one time. Is if you actually have a guy in there with aces and you make a straight and he has top set,
Right.
not going to get away from it.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Well, why would he? How many players are going to get away from that?
Yeah.
Especially on the flop when he's got redraws to the full house.
Yeah.
Remember, he can put you on a smaller set too.
Oh yeah. There's
Out of all
kinds
the hands you could have,
Right.
there are just too many hands to get away from. I'm not going to fault somebody. The flop comes out ace. In that case, let's say the flop comes out ace deuce 4. What are we going to? We're going to give Barry crap for not getting rid of top set?
5-way action here. Queen deuce 3 here with a couple spades.
But like I said, nothing wrong with playing it the way Barry played it. Obviously, I guess I'm willing to risk a little bit more, and I'm willing to see if I can risk more and maybe make $1,500 more out of it.
Turns a deuce. Checked around once again. And the river now is an ace. Who's got the best hand here? Mo with king high? Yep. King jack is going to take this down. There it is.
I mean, you've also got to realize by raising it up with aces, you are exposing your stack.
And this is actually going
With
to
aces.
chop between Gil and Mo. The jack is not going to play. The queen is going to play. Right. Aces. Deuces. Ace, queen, king. Ace, king, queen. Email here from Empire Rules. He says, I subscribe to the archives and have been watching old shows. To my surprise, Mike is in quite a few of them. Known only as Mike, though his play was terrible and his temper was only in check. Now he's Corporation Mike and his terrible temper at the table. Has a terrible temper.
Go.
Mike is not a celebrity. He needs to stop acting like a little boy.
Wow.
Button moves over here to C2. Yeah, he's probably as rich as a celebrity.
Some,
Yeah.
and richer than some.
Yeah. Limped around here 5 ways.
5 players.
10-4-3 here.
I believe the best hand is actually in Bobby's hand here. No, I'm sorry. It looks like Scott has queen, jack 10. But Scott's not going to get involved, and Bobby bets ace 4 there. And he's going to take it down. Pick himself up some dead money there. And we always talk about the nature of no limit hold'em. You don't have to win very many pots to be a very successful player. 1, 2 pots. 1 or 2 pots, that can make your whole night. And if you think about an entire month, you go, well, 1 or 2 pots a night. You know, you're talking about maybe 24 pots a month, and you can have a really, really profitable month. When you think about all the thousands of hands you can see, 1 or 2 hands here, 1 or 2 hands there, it's not very much to ask for.
Raise here by Scott. Ace 3 of hearts. And Mike is going to call with 5-3 of clubs.
Once again, he's dominated. How about a couple threes?
Yeah, here we go to the flop. Queen 6-7. Let's see if Scott makes that continuation bet. And he is going to make the bet.
Perfect right now.
Mike's got a gut shot of the 4.
130.
And Mike is going to check call. Turns a king. Mike going to continue? Scott going to continue to fire? The answer is yes.
Well, we haven't seen Scott do this all day long. First time Scott's done it, and it's going to work. Sometimes you establish an image, tight, real solid player, and it sets up a play like this where you can steal yourself a couple $100 here. Now, obviously, he had the best hand, ace high. But obviously, the cards meant nothing. It was all his position.
No, I know. I get the hottest bet here, too.
Yeah, I know. You're the guy that
Yeah, if it went on from 7 to 10, my life would be perfect.
Now, some people, I imagine the player like Scott, if he had pocket aces in that case, I think he just calls the entire way down. I don't think he raises at all. Because he looks at it and goes, there's no value to raising, because if I raise, I'm only going to get played back with 2 pair or better.
Aaron's going to raise it here to 120 with ace-jack. And Bobby is just going to call here with ace-king suited. Now, again, if this goes miss, and Aaron leads forward, Bobby not going to get involved here.
Well, all clubs there.
Aaron's got the nut club draw.
He's got overcards, plus the nut club draw. He's still an underdog, obviously, because they share cards.
Yeah.
But a bet is going to get it done. Nice aggressive play in position there by Aaron.
I got to start taking some wardrobe advice from Mike. He wears some stylish shirts, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's always wearing some good. I actually told him next time we went shopping, I said, pick me up a shirt.
Yeah.
He said, how much do you want to spend? I go, price is no object. Pick me up a shirt. He goes,
How much do
"Okay."
you think that shirt's worth?
Well, it depends on the shirt he's wearing.
Yeah.
He probably goes shopping in some really nice place. Probably spends $300 $400 on a shirt.
Okay. 80.
Mike's going to raise it up here to 80. It's 6-5 offsuit. And he's going to take it down. Button moves over here to seat 6. Does your wife sometimes help you with what you wear? Does she dress you?
If I ever look good, it's all because of her.
Yeah.
If I ever look like I'm wearing something from the 80s, it was me.
I just remember that one time. I think it was one of the first times I went over to your house when your wife wasn't in town. And you were struggling to find, like, paper plates and, like, utensils.
It's like, I know they're here somewhere.
Yeah.
Where are they? I don't even know.
King Queen suited here for seat
No,
3.
my wife's really cool. She takes care of me way more than she probably should. She's much better than I deserve.
And Aaron's going to raise it up here to 80.
Really?
And he's going to take it down here. Again, kind of a smaller game, not a ton of action.
I got to say, I like the way Aaron played. I was a little skeptical at first when you saw him lay down those pocket 8s, like the second or third hand of the night. When the board came out 7 high, he just check and folded with pocket 8s. And I thought maybe he played a little bit too passive tonight.
Yeah.
But he's played a pretty good game. I don't know if he's up. I know he's not really down or up much. But I haven't seen anything that's kind of glaringly weak.
Button moves over here to Barry Woods in seat 7.
Raise it to 60.
I mean, sometimes a night like this is actually a lot of fun for me to watch because of the great poker. You're not necessarily seeing like an Ed or a Dimitri in a game that's just basically throwing action around.
Got a race here. I think it was by
Mike
with pocket 3s. 4-way action here. King 7-10 with a couple of diamonds.
Well, nobody's got a king. If Mike were to follow through with the bet, he'd probably take it down.
Now, Barry does have middle pair, though, with 8-10. And it gets checked over to Barry, and he's going to bet.
220.
He's going to bet 220.
And that's one of the reasons why we rarely believe Barry. If he were to check that flop,
right.
And then let's say a 9 were to come out, or actually not even a 9, let's say a 3 were to come out.
And now it checks around, and now he bets again.
It's like, what are you representing here? Come on.
Right.
Because Barry is so aggressive post-flop, he normally will bet his draws or even second pair.
Button moves over here to Mo, and we got a straddle here by Mike.
Now, we talk about sports betting, obviously. We're talking about Italy, USA, and the sports betting. You know, obviously, that's a huge leak in a lot of good poker players' games.
We talk about pit leaks as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Craps, blackjack.
Somebody who can beat poker for, 6 figures a year, but gives it all back to the casinos in other ways.
And Mike is not chopping here. I thought he chopped. Oh, Mike had limped in, excuse me, and I think Aaron's in the big blind.
Well, Mike's open-ended here.
Jack 9-6. Oh, it was a straddled. Okay, and Mike did not raise the straddle.
Yeah, when he straddles, he won't.
He's going to bet 60. Well, why would you chop it if you straddle? I mean, that's the best thing. The problem with straddling in a full ring game is you're out of position, but when it gets folded around in the small blind, now you're in position. You've got money, and you have money the guy has to call, and you have the option.
No, it's
Which is obviously the reason why straddling like in a short-handed 3 or 4-handed game is great. Straddle on the button.
I've seen sometimes Mike does it. I've seen him win his straddle uncontested like 3 or 4 times in a row. People just giving him money.
Scott's got the button here in seat 2. Got about a little under 20 minutes left in the show.
100.
And Barry Woods is going to raise it up here to 100 with ace-jack offsuit.
20.
Wow, and Gil is going to object.
What is he objecting to?
Barry threw 100 in and didn't say anything. So Gil is calling it a call. Of course, if you throw a big chip in and you don't say anything, it is just a call.
Well, there you go.
4-way action here. 10-8-3 here. Gil's got a flush draw.
And nobody's got a pair. You imagine if Gil bets, he's going to take it down. Well, now Barry's going to bet it.
120.
You know, the funny thing here is that, I got to tell you, Barry meant to raise, and I feel like he thinks he needs to make a continuation bet because he meant to raise. But the pot's not big, though, Dave.
Right.
There isn't. It's not a raised pot.
Well, he's got the best hand still.
Yeah. Check, check. River's a 3.
And is Gil going to fire at it? No, Gil just gives it, and he gives Barry the money.
I mean, I think Barry kind of made a little bit of a mistake. Whenever you, if you get involved in a situation where you mean to raise and somebody calls it a string raise, and now it's limped around between one other player and the blinds, you don't need to make a continuation bet on a rag board,
Right.
do you?
Now you wonder if maybe he got his ego involved a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
We always talk about, obviously, if you're going to play poker of any form, you got to leave your ego at the door.
Yeah.
It's an egoless game. You can't really try to, I'm going to get that guy. I'm going to be this. And I understand a lot of the players are very competitive and they want to beat and they want to win. Big egos get in the way of winning poker. And you wonder if once in a while Barry does that. He's so competitive. Wants to win so badly.
Gil's going to raise it here out of the blind. He's going to make a little pot sweetener raise with the suited connector to 50. Allen's going to call. And so does Mike. And here we go to the flop. Jack 8 king here.
And once again, nobody has anything.
Checked around here. Boy, if Allen ever threw a bet in, it would be good.
Yeah, in position, he just doesn't, he plays, he never really plays.
And now Gil is going to bet on the 3. You wonder if that makes a lot of sense, but I don't think Mike is feeling too confident right now.
Yeah,
Not
his
really
confidence
getting
obviously
mixed
a little bit hit.
You know, we say it so many times, and it's so transparent if you actually use some of the stuff that we say. People's hands are so defined by their raise amounts. I was playing in a game with Corey, who people might know from the show a couple times, and he had raised it like out of the blind to 50, and when it was limped around like 3 ways. He was deep, I was deep. There's no way he does that with aces.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's no way. And in
Yeah.
all likelihood, he's probably got like an ace-queen or something like that, or a king-jack or king-queen. He gives you an awful lot of information.
Right.
He really does.
More players.
4-way action here, limped around. 9 deuce deuce here on the flop.
Well, Gil's got he's got 9-6. He's got 2 pair with a 6 kicker. Obviously not much of a hand, but he does have the best one. 10 on the turn. He lets Bobby get there.
And Bobby's going to bet now. Why not?
60.
He bets 60.
I know, it was 9.
And I think that Mike is losing money even on the prop bets as well.
I know you can get it back.
Wow, and Gil is going to play a check call here. The river's a queen. That's funny. If you have a 10 now, I think you actually might bet there with Jack 10 because it's going to get chopped up. You might bet, and a guy might not call you with the 10. I'm not necessarily worried about Queen 10.
Are you worried about King 10 though?
I don't know. Would Gil check there, though? I mean, obviously lose to King 10 and Ace 10.
Right.
Obviously, it's much easier for me to say I see the cards.
Yeah.
You would check that down with the Jack 10?
You know, I don't know. I'm not sure. Obviously, it's always different when you're at the table. And you know, obviously, I'm a proponent for value betting. I probably value bet as well. I probably put a little $100 bet in there and see if I get called.
I'm just saying about just the possibility of betting off a weak 10.
Yeah.
Because if you check it, you might chop with a weak 10. I don't think I'm going to get called by a hand that I can beat, but I might get fold equity with the same hand.
Yeah, you
see what I'm saying?
very well might.
Yeah.
Somebody
A
might
little
throw away
thing.
10-4.
Yeah.
Thinking, what am I? I'm going to call him to chop here.
Mike is going to raise it up here with Queen Jack, and Allen's got a weak ace. Mike bets 200. Allen checks. And Allen, it does not check raise. He doesn't like his kicker. It's a check call. Turns another ace, and Allen's got trips.
Now, is Allen astute to realize that changes nothing about his hand? If he was beat before that ace came out, before the turn card, he's still beat. And if he had the best hand before the ace came out, he still has the best hand. That ace of spades changes nothing. Absolutely nothing. Unless, of course, Mike had king 8 specific.
And Mike takes the card, and the river's a queen.
Yeah.
And now Allen moves all in with ace 5. Wow. When he actually can be beat, obviously.
760 all in.
He's moved into here for 760. Well, he's
Well,
coming on the
he's
short
got
stack.
$700.
Yeah.
The pot is like 600. I don't mind this play.
No, come on, Mike. There's no way Allen's
No,
gonna
Mike's
move
playing.
in. Yeah.
He's just playing.
You don't have to show me unless you have the same hand. Maybe you got to show me.
Alan,
He
what a
just
character.
loves to ride Alan, huh?
Oh, man. He's such a character. Such a character. And obviously, that's a weakness in a lot of people's games. They don't realize how vulnerable sometimes trips can be.
Yeah.
You know, you don't realize, well, the flops ace, king, 5. Oh, now I have trip aces. Okay, now I have a monster. We've seen people on this show lose thousands and thousands of dollars with trips and a bad kicker.
No, I know. It was either queen jack or you had a king or an ace.
Mike's going to raise again here with jack 9. And Gil's going to call with king, queen offsuit.
What's up, Susan?
Yeah, watermelon in the back. Big old piece of watermelon.
Players.
Oh, there's the king.
See if Mike's going to make the continuation bet. And again, you know, Mike's been raising with like king 4. Here, he doesn't hit it. Luckily for him, he doesn't raise with king 4, and Gil calls him with king queen. He's really been dominated so many times tonight.
Now, this board is very unconnected. I mean, only 4-5 is the only real draw out there.
Just a bet and a call. Turns an ace.
And that's got to be a little bit of a scary card. If Mike had raised you with, say,
Ace rag,
whatever, he just got there. That's really the only card you don't want to see, huh?
He bets 400, and you know what's got to be going through Mike's head is if Gil called me with the king, there might be fold equity to that bet now that the aces come up.
Yeah, and at this point, I think
But
Mike's
Gil
going to shut
calls.
down.
The river's a king.
Yeah,
Check.
and Mike just shuts down. And
He just gives up. Gil is going to bet there.
Their fucking hand against me. I mean, every single time. Ace king, ace king. When they're fucking stone cold nuts.
yeah. And Mike, obviously, you know, astute enough to realize he bluffs on the turn, hoping that the ace will scare Gil.
Yeah.
But once Gil calls him there, he knows he's done with it.
I don't think I've ever not run into a hand tonight.
Still fuming about that 6-3 hand, Dave.
Yeah.
Kind of a cooler hand for him. Butt moves over here to Barry Woods in seat 7.
And obviously, you know, he did the limp re-raise with Barry when Barry had aces.
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't been working out. See, Crackhead joins the 2+2 forum. Say hi to Crackhead there. Little shout out.
Scott has limped in here with king jack suited from up front. Mo calls.
4 players.
And this game's playing a lot more passive than a normal 10-20 game on Friday night.
Yes.
Mike obviously not pushing the action as hard as he usually does.
King, queen 3 here. Let's see if Scott leads out with the bet. No, now
And
he's
this,
going to bet.
yeah, this time he's going to bet it.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, the way Scott has played tonight, yeah, you wonder. I mean, he does change it. I'm sure he changes gears and stuff, but I don't know if I'd be giving him action tonight from what I've seen. If I'm at the table.
You've got to realize, somebody who's been a professional poker player for over 20 years,
Yeah.
they make money playing this, which means their hourly rate is positive. You know what I mean? That means, I mean, they're rarely losing money. That's not a guy that I'm going to be trying to make money off of, you know? We always talk about No Limit as a game where you can pick your opponents. You don't have to play against him. He's got king-queen suited. He's going to limp in, I think. He does. And Aaron's got 9s. And he limps in as well. That's going to bring in Mike with the old 10-deuce suited. Which brings in Gil, which brings in Bobby, which brings in Mike, which brings in Paul. And we've got what is
9-way action.
one of the first family pots in the history of Live at the Bike. 9-way action. Top pair for Scott. It's going to take us a second to figure out who has the best hand, though.
Yeah, it looks like Scott's good here at king, queen right now.
Unbelievable. Look at that. And look at that. All the cards are up there. Unbelievable,
He does
Ronnie.
not bet here with king, queen from up
What?
front. Turn is an ace now.
And, well, that's going to get Barry 2 pair aces and 8s.
Mike just folds.
Mike just open folds with 10 deuce diamonds. Doesn't want to get involved. He's not going to bluff into 19 people. And I got to tell you, this is just going to get folded around. I really believe that.
Oh, look at this. Allen's calling with a gut shot to the queen.
Are you kidding me?
With 2 clubs out there. Is he going to represent clubs?
I can't even find Allen's hand. There
And
it is.
Queen 8 of clubs. Now Gil he's in there with queen 8 of clubs. He's got a pair and a flush draw. And the river is an ace. And Barry fills up.
Yeah.
And look at this. Allen bluffs at it. He missed the draw and he bluffs. And Barry's pretty much staring at the stone cold nuts right here.
Yeah, and I mean,
Except for ace king.
people would say, well, is there value to raising? Well, in this case, your hand is too good not to raise. But
Raise it.
And Allen quickly throws it away. And leave this board on there for 1 second, Ronnie. The ace of spades comes on the river. What is Allen trying to represent?
I don't know.
We talk about if you're bluffing, you've got to make it look like something logically came. Okay, well, look, I made this. Thanks a lot, Ronnie. I appreciate that. The ace of spades, what did that come? I mean, hey, if a 4 comes or a 9 comes, remember there's 8-5 out there, I can represent 6-7. If a club comes, I can represent clubs.
Queen 6, but you just made a straight 6.
But if an ace falls, that's the card that Barry bet on. So I've got to assume that Barry has the ace. That's the one that he bet on. And even if Barry had a king there, he's probably going to call, assuming you don't have an ace, because there's now 2 out there.
I'm sure he is, actually. I know.
Allen just gives a $400 gift to Barry.
Mo's going to pop it up here to 140 with ace 10 of hearts. And Mike isn't even going to call on the straddle with 9 deuce offsuit.
We talk about confidence being everything. I mean, anybody want to check out the archives and look at Mike from a month ago compared to Mike today?
Like I said, you made a straight, you made a runner flush. See, that's the nature of the game, Mike. You try to make the best hand.
See the vast difference, obviously. You know, when Mike's running well, he's going to win a lot of money, but nobody runs well forever.
And the game is one of 7 cards, so I do like to see all of them.
Yeah, we talk about it. Ray was just pointing out, obviously, and you look at the confidence of Barry and Mike. You know, you look at just 3 weeks ago, Barry's confidence was in the dumps, while Mike was sky high. Mike thought he was, you know, God's gift to poker. You know, now it's kind of role reversal. I don't want to say Mike is, like, lacking in confidence now, but clearly not where it was just 3 weeks ago.
Aaron did not. He just limped in with ace queen, and now Mike has got an ace here.
Well, and he is dead. I mean, he needs running 3.
And it gets checked around. Mike didn't bet, and neither did Aaron. The turn's a 4. Mike picks up a straight draw now.
And I was going to say,
Boy, luckily for Mike, he didn't catch a 3 there. And just a call here by Mike.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, this is probably going to go bet call again on the river as well. What is Barry doing?
Guarantee you hit it, whatever it is.
Well, Mike needs a 3 or a deuce here. Actually, a 3 was
No, yeah.
not good for him.
Just a deuce.
There's a king. And Barry would have hit it with Jack 10. Bet out here again. Bet's 150.
Time. You got king, queen? Jack 10, Barry? Yeah.
And Mike calls.
Yeah, Mike pays him up. Now, Mike does keep the pot pretty small. He doesn't raise him.
Barry had, of course, Jack 10.
Yeah, nice layout.
Now, you really wonder there, if Aaron bets right away, right into the field, what happens? Does Mike raise right away? Does Mike just call?
Well, Mike, on a normal night when Mike's running well, he's going to raise their 3-handed out of the blind with an ace, probably, with ace 3.
Yeah, you're right. And that pot probably gets pretty big.
You have had a rush tonight. So I just better play than you do. I'm taking all your fucking tricks. Deal with it. Get some counseling or something. I'm okay. I'm comfortable. I like that.
Got about 7 minutes left in tonight's show.
Fold it around to Aaron, and these guys are going to chop it up.
I would never try to cover that up.
Here we go. Final chip count of the night here, Dave. Let's see how these guys are doing. 36,000 on the table.
You asexuality? Right.
And Barry's leading the field here with 9,200. Let's take a look at the difference.
Yep, Mo, wow. Mo's our big winner. He's up $3,800.
Yeah.
You know, Scott is down 2,200, but you got to remember he lost about 2,500 on that.
Yeah, he misread the hand. And look at Mike's the big loser.
And pretty much the rest of the table is either even, right around even now. We just saw there Aaron up 1,000 now.
Yeah.
And Mike up about down about 6,200.
It's like instant change there from the last hand. We hadn't had the last one in.
Yeah.
And put in there, and then a little PDA out there changes up right away.
Unbelievable technology.
Craziness here at Live the Bike. Button moves over here to C4.
Don't stop us. We'll take it down with us.
Oh, man. What a week. Tomorrow we got the big soccer game.
King, queen, 4.
Oh, Mike's got 2 pair here. Queen, 4. He's got bottom 2. He gets checked to him. He's going to bet. Has anybody got anything to get involved here?
I don't think so. I mean, well, Barry can always find something.
Oh,
He got 4-3. Well, Barry's in such bad shape here.
Oh, man. If he hits a 3, he might
How about
lose
a 4?
How about a 4, though, to kill Mike? Can you imagine?
No, if he catches a 4, he's
Oh,
dead.
yeah. There's not. Yeah, you're right.
He's almost drawing dead. You'll see the percentages when everybody else folds.
Yeah, because we don't have the Queen 4 up there yet.
There it is,
it is.
99% to
Turns
1.
of 5. Mike bets 300 here.
And now Barry is drawing dead.
Oh, man, if a 4 came, that would have been a horrible
Oh.
thing. Well, somebody else had a 4.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, so it would have been the case 4. Wow, and this is going to be the last time of the night.
just like that, another week done, finished, in the archives, in the bank.
Was England playing Sunday or Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, so we won't know on Monday.
Well,
they're already in the second round automatically, so it doesn't really matter. But of course, that seeding is critical.
Critical.
Playing Germany or whoever the second place team is out of that group.
Scott's going to limp in here with, oh, wow,
Aces.
two red aces. No, not two red aces. Two aces, though. Ace of hearts, ace of clubs, and he limps in.
And look at this. Mo's got 10s in the big blind. He's going to raise. Let's see how Scott plays it. He is going to immediately re-raise. But I don't think that Mo is going to get involved here.
No, I think this is an easy. This is an insta-fold for Mo.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll have one more hand here when Mo folds. Now, the only question is, would you call this for your 10? Are you big enough to call?
Well, from what Scott's reputation is, I don't think you're ever going to make the type of money you need to make out of position with
Good
the set.
point. Good point. I mean, if you hit a 10, you're probably not going to double
You almost
up.
look at it like it's almost maybe a lose-lose situation because would you go broke if you hit your set and he hits a set? See what I mean?
Good point.
We're going to take a look at one more here.
I mean, the flop comes out king 10 deuce. Do you even know if you're good?
Right.
Yeah, but you folded his raise. I wouldn't have got any of your money. I would have got his. I have no beef with it.
Yeah, Scott played it really tight tonight.
Yeah.
Now, you said Gabe Thaler, I know you said you watched him play. Does he play with a laggy style?
He doesn't. He didn't just play as laggy in pot limit, but no limit. He plays it super aggressive.
Really? Does he
Really
like kind of like a Mike?
Well,
It's a different part of the head.
Not quite.
if we talk about Mike, I mean, he is Mike almost perfected.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Gabe Thaler is, I really think, one of the best cash game players out there. He's phenomenal. And we're going to see a flop here, it looks like. Three ways.
Scott is limped in here with ace-queen.
Four ways, actually. Thank you. Ooh, set of fours for Mo.
Set of fours here for Mo.
And he checks it.
And Paul is going to bet here with ace-jack. And how involved is Paul going to get here?
Well, against Mo, you know, Mo sometimes overplays some hands.
Well, is Mo going to just check call here and slow play?
Raise it.
Oh, he's going to raise right now.
200 more.
And is Paul even going to get involved with ace-jack? Let's see.
He's going to call.
Well, he calls one time.
And
Let's
Mo
see.
might think that Paul's like on a diamond draw here. Oh, the turn's a jack. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. And Mo's going to bet 400.
You got to love this bet here. You have to love this bet by Mo. Paul was either on a diamond draw, or Paul was on like 5-6, or he had a jack. And if he has a jack.
And if you're Paul, you might think that Mo is making kind of a stoppage bet to get name his price for diamonds, and Paul just calls. And the river's a 5.
Wow. Now, obviously, Mo had to be scared of, say,
Mo's got to know he's good here.
Oh, no, definitely.
Yeah.
If a 7 to come out, or a king, or an ace comes out, you got to be scared of a full house, a bigger full house.
And he's going to bet big here. Love the value bet.
It really is. He's putting Paul on a jack. He knows Paul's got top pair.
1,500 here. What a laydown this would be for Paul.
He knows Paul has trips.
Would Mo really check raise king jack or queen jack here? That's really the issue. Mo's put a pot-sized bet out here at the end.
Well, is there any chance that Mo is doing this with, say, a big draw, 5-6 diamonds? I'll give you something like that, and he's going to try to represent. But he's got to know there's a good chance Paul's got a jack. Would he bluff somebody with a jack? That's the question. Wow, what a way to end live at the bike. $1,500 bet into what, about a $2,000 pot?
Yep, and Paul's going to pay him off.
Wow.
Four's full is going to take it down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, Paul had a feeling that he was behind there. You can obviously see it. It was almost a crying call.
Yeah.
He felt like he just had to. And, you know, Mo actually wins about, I want to say he wins about $2,500 new there, $2,400 new.
Nice hand there to end the night.
Phenomenal. Man, I'm tough.
And, yeah, that's going to do it for us. Again, another week down the annals of Live at the Bike.
Yeah.
Go USA, go USA. That's all I can say.
Rock on.
Tomorrow. Italy. All right, we'll see you next week. Come in same time on Monday.
Same bat time.
Have a good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.